The United States and Israel have a toxic relationship. Other countries in the world look at us and like, oh, they're together. I hate when they're together. And it is toxic because it's codependent. Like, we need them to be our foothold in the Middle East for our imperial ventures, and they need us to give them all the weapons they need to do all this stuff. It's toxic because now we're at the point a lot of people want us to break up, but like, we're not doing it because we know each other's secrets. It really is like a toxic relationship. She can't leave me because I finance her lifestyle. And I can't leave her because she has pictures of me and all my friends sleeping with minors. And not actual me, guys, not actual me. That was what's called an analogy. For those who don't know, that was an Epstein reference. If you didn't know, Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. He was working for Mossad. This is not even a conspiracy anymore. I don't even know how much more evidence people need to see. But I still have to be careful because if I talk too much about Epstein, his lawyer could still come after me. Alan Dershowitz, you know Alan Dershowitz? One of the sleaziest out there. He was on Epstein Island. There's all these allegations against him, and he's still Epstein's lawyer, which is crazy. Epstein's dead. Alan Dershowitz is still representing him. For the same reason, I also can't talk too much about Israel. If I talk too much about Israel and the Epstein relationship, Israel's lawyer could also come after me. Yeah. Also Alan Dershowitz. It's the same guy. How much more evidence do you need?
All right, guys, and we are live. Yo, this is Set with Set Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we got a nice little lineup for tonight. Of course, we're going to get into the current updates because strikes have restarted. Of course, Iran popped off and attacked first this time because, I mean, from my guess, it sounds like he was upset that we invited Bibi and Zelensky, you know, two people that's pretty much been, well, one has been calling for the strike on Iran, and then the other one pretty much struck a boat in the Caspian Sea. That was an Iranian boat that killed a citizen of Iran. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that kind of pissed them off. Not sure if that was the reason why they sent those missiles, but hey, this is like the first time Iran really just actually started off the conflict, because by attacking that base in Jordan, which they were all intercepted, by the way, or that's what's been reported, pretty much that set the war back on. And now Trump has no choice but to respond. He used some pretty spicy language, you know, dropping a whole lot of F-bombs, but we're going to get into that later on. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into our guy, Bibi Netanyahu.
Despite the ceasefire collapsing in the last few days, President Trump seems eager to still have a diplomatic solution to end the war in Iran. He says that Iran wants to make a deal. Is he right?
Well, I hope so. I mean, he's got basically three options. One, to indeed succeed in making a deal. Two, to continue the blockade. Three, to take...
The blockade is not working, though. So there is no option two. There really is no option two. It's really just an option one. Like, option two, like, if we continue to blockade, Iran still has a Caspian Sea to go ahead and get over to Russia. But due to the way Zelensky the way Zelensky is acting right now, I mean, you never know. They might be able to shut that down with their drones, but I highly doubt it. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes later on. And the thing is also is that Pakistan is pretty much bordering on Iran and China at the same time, so they can also use them as well. So the blockade does not stop Iran from being able to resupply and sell to and from Russia. It's like it doesn't stop them.
Military action. Anything that will produce the end of Iran's nuclear program is what we want. That's our common goal. We talked about it.
When you met with President Trump at the White House, did you try to persuade him to resume attacks?
No, let's be real. It's not even about their nuclear program. This is about regime change for Bibi. And of course, getting rid of their missiles and proxies. I mean, if this is about their nuclear program, we could have reached that through diplomatic means, but it was Bibi and, well, yeah, the Israelis pretty much pushing that, oh, no, we got to take care of their missiles and proxies, which was a non-negotiable for Iran. And if Bibi was truly okay with us just taking care of their nuclear program, then trust me, we wouldn't have got dragged into this, because that was offered to us multiple times, but we kept on insisting that they also, you know, draw down their missiles or water down their missiles and stop funding their proxies, which, you know, was a non-negotiable for Iran. But we still pushed it and pretty much just blew up negotiations Well, quite literally when we pretty much bombed them at the end of it, but we blew up negotiations for asking for things that were non-negotiable.
On Iran?
Actually not. That's the caricature, the cartoon picture. That is not true. We actually analyzed all three possibilities, and I thought we did it in an open way between friends and allies, and it's his decision. It's his decision. I think the important thing is we have a common goal, and the common goal is to make sure that this regime that chants death to America, that has murdered and maimed over 40,000 of its own citizens, that is shooting at every country in sight.
I'm sorry, but if you believe the 40,000 citizens, I mean, come on, bro. Like, I'm gonna give you the actual numbers. The actual numbers from the Iranian protest, so-called massacre, was around 3,000 to 7,000. This is coming from Iran's numbers and human rights group inside of Iran. There is no proof that they killed 30, 40, 50,000 of their own citizens. None whatsoever. I mean, no names, none of that. But you can go to human rights group and they'll tell you about 7,000. You go to Iran and they'll tell you 3,000. That's why we got to keep the fair estimate of 3,000 to 7,000.
That has wreaked havoc on the international economy, that it doesn't get nuclear weapons.
You said just yesterday that you think that a diplomatic solution is unlikely. Why do you think that you all have such different assessments of the outcome here?
Well, I don't know if it's unlikely, but I'm skeptical about Iran's mode of operandus. I mean, the method of operating. They always lie, they always cheat, and they always play for time. Could that, with sufficient pressure, diplomatic, economic pressure, could that change? Give it a try.
Is your goal still regime change?
My goal is to make sure that Iran, with this regime, doesn't have nuclear weapons. And that's something that President Trump and I both agree on, because it would be...
So crazy is like, bro, it was his government that convinced Trump to get out of the JCPOA. It was the Zionists that was pushing Trump to do this. This is why Trump pulled out of the JCPOA. It was because of, the Zionist backing, and he won them over because of that. So I'm gonna be real with you. The reason why Iran is actually at 60% enrichment is because of what you guys were convincing Trump of. Pretty much saying it's a bad deal, saying that, if you're keeping this deal, Iran's gonna break out towards a nuke. Well, guess what? In this deal, Iran was only at that 3.67% enrichment. And all their stockpiles has been removed, but the sanctions were pretty much lifted. So yeah, they were making money. I ain't gonna lie, it did enrich them. But the problem with that is that it kept them, the best thing about that is that it kept them away from a nuke, and we had eyes on the ground. According to the IAEA and our own CIA, they were abiding by the deal. So when we hopped out of that deal and we put the sanctions back on, we labeled the IRGC a terrorist group, we bombed General Qasem Soleimani, all in between 2018 and 2020, what do you think was going to happen, guys? Oh, yes, Iran progresses towards a nuke, which now they're at 60%. And they've been at 60% since 2021. And they've stayed there because we've honestly stopped the hostilities after that. And now we've pretty much restarted them. So now, honestly, who knows what Iran is doing when it comes to a nuke? Because at this point, it would be in their best interest to have one. It's like the only way they can even have some sovereignty or to ensure that nobody's going to attack them. At this point, it's the ultimate deterrent. I mean, look what it did for North Korea. I know we all hated how North Korea got it, but they're kind of vindicated.
A different world. They're different from other countries, other societies. They have no compunction at murdering their own. You've seen that. They have no compunction at pursuing the death of this great country or the elimination of my country. That's what they do.
If Iran does strike Israel, how will you respond?
I think they'll make a terrible mistake and will respond very...
and if you have any question, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just go ahead and send a super chat or Venmo. And if not, look, you can cry in the chat, but if you can't afford to, it's all good. It's all good. I understand. Affordability. But make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, and smash that like button. Appreciate the support, guys.
Very forcefully.
Earlier this month, President Trump said in an interview with a reporter that in the relationship with you, you know who the boss is, meaning that it's him. He's the one calling the shots. Do you see it that way?
Well, in America, often they say that Trump does everything I say. And in Israel, they often say that I do everything he says. And sometimes, these things are expressed in the public discussion by anyone, including the president. But the truth is, we're partners. We're allies. He's the senior partner. It's the United States of America, let's not forget. And I'm the junior partner, but I'm the Prime Minister of Israel. And when I have to stand up for the interests of my country and the security of my country, I do so. But I always do so with a deep appreciation of the role that the United States under President.
What pisses me off is how he says he stands up for the security of his country, but he always sends his country into war. Like the 12-day war with Iran that Israel faced substantial damage from. Bro, Bibi started that. They attacked Iran first and started that war with them, and then got the backlash from it. And then now you have Israelis hiding in the tunnels because of this man's actions. I mean, bro, even under this Iran war, they dragged us into that. And then while we were taking care of Iran, they back out and then they go strike Lebanon first. So how could you care about your people's security while starting conflicts with all your neighbors? That's insane.
President Trump has played in joining forces with us against our common enemy that wants to destroy us both.
The New York Times reports that before the war began, that you told President Trump that Iran's ballistic missile program could be destroyed in just a few weeks, that it could be done without the Strait of Hormuz being shut down, and that there could be regime change. Now, here we are more than 5 months into this war. They still have the missiles. The regime is still intact. And essentially, the Strait of Hormuz is shut down. Why would you say that your early assessment was so off?
That wasn't my early assessment, and that's an incorrect statement of what I said. I thought that we have to act to make sure that Iran doesn't get nuclear weapons, because if we don't, it's like having a cancer.
All right, so pretty much what Bibi's denying is that, what's been reported by multiple news sources that you came to the White House and you convinced Trump that we could knock out Iran within 4 days to 2 weeks. And we knocked him, we hit him so quick, so fast, so smooth that they wouldn't even have time to close the strait down. Now he wants to deny it because, let's be real. It would look pretty bad if he just admit there on American television that, I ain't gonna lie, I dragged us into a war and a lie, a complete lie that I knew damn well wasn't going to work, and that was going to drag America basically into a quagmire with Iran of all countries. So, I mean, let's be real. This is kind of what he wanted, believe it or not.
You don't take it out, you're going to die. We're discussing how to make sure that it doesn't come back, it doesn't metastasize. That's the first thing. As far as the regime, I said we could create the conditions to make this regime a lot weaker, but it's up to the people of Iran in the end to take their own destiny in their own hands. I think Iran is weaker than ever before. I think Israel is stronger than ever before, but I can't tell you that the regime has already collapsed. It's not. But I'll make a prediction. I think after such a chasm between the people and the regime, after this mass murder, I think this regime will eventually fall.
Did you anticipate that Iran would use the Strait of Hormuz in the way that it is to essentially choke off much of the world's oil supply?
I thought they could do it, but I thought they'd also have to consider what would be the consequences if they do it, and nobody could predict that with accuracy. After this war is over, I don't think the straits are going to be that powerful a leverage, because
people are trying to build pipelines that go around the strait, so no longer will people actually need to put their oil or their goods on a boat to send it through the Strait of Hormuz. It's going to be, actually mainly the oil, but they're going to be able to send that through the pipeline that they're trying to build around the strait instead of having to use it, and that will take away a lot of Iran's leverage. But here's the problem, though. If you think Iran's just going to let that happen, what if they start striking these sites because they're trying to find a way around the strait and trying to take their leverage? I mean, look what Iran's doing in the strait right now just for trying to go around the toll. Let's keep it real here.
People will move the
but I mean, hey, Bibi, unless you're going to stop them and jump into this war, that'd be great. Instead of just sitting on the sideline making comments.
Pipelines out of the straits to the Red Sea, from there to Israel and the Mediterranean, we can unblock this choke point. and we will.
How do you respond, though, to your critics who say that you intentionally misled President Trump to get the U.S. involved in this war?
No, I didn't mislead anything. And the president didn't need to have, nobody tells President Trump what to do. And when I met...
No, you can't tell President Trump what to do, but you can mislead President Trump into doing something really stupid. Because he's just gullible, and if I'm be real with you, if you kind of just boost his ego a little bit, you hit him with a little flattery, he's like putty in your hand at a certain point. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's lying about the whole, oh, well, what do you mean? I didn't go to Trump and sell him that we could take out Iran within a couple of days. Yes, you did, bro. That's the only way you'd been able to get Trump into this, if you told him that this could be like another Venezuela. Because Lord knows if you told Trump that, oh yeah, this is going to drag out for 5 months, he'd be like, hell no, bro, we got midterms, you tripping. But no, you told him 4 to 2 weeks, a time frame that he can accept.
At him before the second.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation. Also, smash that like button if you're watching horizontally. If you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, make sure to super chat it in, or you can also send in a Venmo, guys.
Term before he was already elected, but he wasn't yet. I didn't yet take office, and I went to see him in Mar-a-Lago, and the first thing he said to me, I have to make sure that Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. So it's not, I didn't tell him that. He told me that because he understands the great peril that America will be thrust into if that doesn't happen. So when we talked about the fact that after Midnight Hammer, after the first attack that we had, that Khamenei, the dictator of Iran, was intending to, not to stop the nuclear program, but to refurbish it and to put it under.
Oh, guys, and please just don't try to spam your comments in the chat to try to rage bait me. That's not going to work. It's either you super chatting your opinion or argument in, or you can just cry in the chat, guys. That's perfectly fine. Oh, man, you know what kills me too, though? It's like, bro, somebody in the chat was literally crashing out talking about, oh, you guys in America, you Americans. I'm like, dog, you're doing the same thing that BB's doing. It's called collective punishment, collective criticism as well. Just because a group of people support Israel doesn't mean that all of Americans support Israel. We don't even do that to the Israelis. I mean, but here you are crashing out in the chat over support of BB while you're doing exactly what BB does. Ain't that crazy? But all right, though, let's get back to it.
Ground in a place where it's, you can't reach it. We both understood that we had to take action.
You recently said that the U.S.-Israel relationship is like a wall of granite, and there are just some people who are looking to find cracks in it. But as you know, American support for Israel is plummeting. According to a recent poll, 32% of Americans look at your government favorably. That's a 15-point drop in just the last 4 years. 82%. When you think of it like...
I mean, actually, no, a polling did come out that people actually do think that BB should have been arrested. Like, yeah, we should have locked his ass up. We shouldn't have been an example to the world and let everybody know that you can't be out here committing genocide or your ass will get locked up. It is not going to be the FBI. Bro, really, it should be the Shin Bet that get his ass. But, I mean, look, Israel ain't going to hold their own leaders accountable, and they've been known for this behavior, well, since their inception, sadly. I mean, Israel was built on terrorism and is going to go out, sadly, on terrorism.
Do you think that Israel has a messaging problem, an image problem, or a policy problem?
A messaging problem, bro, all of it. God damn, all of it. The messaging problem is pretty much saying that if you judge Israel, you hate Jews. So that's pretty wild. And if you judge Israel, for some reason, I guess you're ignoring Hamas. So trust me, y'all messaging is trash on that one. And then, of course, what you're showing us, which is you guys recklessly bombing Gaza. You killed about over 85,000 Palestinians. Hamas is still in there. So you were supposed to take out Hamas, but you took out more Palestinians than Hamas. Then you got some of y'all leaders back here talking about, oh, Palestinians are animals. You said they're the Amalek. Smotrich says they're like they need to be cleansed. It's like, bro, I'm sorry, but like everything points to a genocide. We got genocide scholars pretty much condemning this and saying, yeah, it's a genocide. So we got UN saying this is genocide. We got genocide scholars that have been studying it for years saying it's a genocide. But yet we still have people that will have that argument going, oh, no, it's not a genocide, Set. What are you talking about? I mean, are you hearing the Israeli politicians? Because they're saying it out loud. I'm not going to lie to you. They are saying it out loud and they're proud about it. Actually, they've been taught this since children. So it is what it is on that note when it comes to the Israelis.
I think there's been a change because of the proliferation of social media and the fact that sovereign countries have manipulated with bot farms and other things. And we can see a direct relationship between the proliferation of this social media and the decline in support for Israel. Now, I'm not telling you that the war in Gaza and the way that it was misrepresented here and the lies that were put forward, that didn't influence this. It did, unfortunately. But
I'm sorry, but y'all misrepresented yourself. All right, look. Everybody after October 7th was on Israel's side. It's like, yeah, some terrorists came over and attacked you guys, killed about 1,200 to 1,500 people, some of them being soldiers, actually. Then there was a Hannibal directive where you guys killed some of your own people. But let's just forget about all that. Let's just stick to the 12,000, 1,500. Yeah, we were on your side when you guys was attacking Hamas. But when you start blowing up schools, hospitals, and basically all of their infrastructure, like, for water and electricity, yeah, that's where you lost us, dog. That's where you lost us. When you start putting children under rubble, that's where you lost us. And then when you told us that we were anti-Semitic for even criticizing it, oh yeah, you lost damn near everybody.
But I am saying that there is those who hate Israel hate America, and those who hate America hate Israel. And I think that it's a larger issue that is a larger battle that is being waged here for the soul, the heart and soul of young Americans. I think it's a broader thing. Does it concern me? Yes. Yes.
Oh, guys, like I said, if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, feel free to super chat it in or send in a Venmo, guys, or you can send a gift just to support the show. I read the gifts out as well.
It does. And I want bipartisan support for Israel because I think that's a fundament of our national security.
But doesn't it go beyond social media because you have genocide?
I'm actually happy he admitted to that. He literally admitted that American support is literally critical to their national security. But then you'll also have people like Ben Shapiro saying Israel don't need the U.S. Israel can fight their own wars. But you got the leader out here pretty much saying that, it's vital to our national security that we have bipartisan support, that both the Republicans and the Democrats are simping for Israel. They both got a simp, or the pure simping ain't complete. Like, the pure domination of your government ain't complete unless both sides are simping for Israel. And I'm sad to say it, but I ain't gonna lie, the Democrats are kind of on the right. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. Like, they're not, I like how they're kind of moving away from simping for Israel, unlike the Republicans, sadly. But they are kind of doing it with for the wrong reasons sometimes. I'm gonna be real with you. They do sometimes for the wrong reason. Not all of them, but some of them.
Scholars, you have humanitarian groups, the United Nations, who have all said that Israel has committed war crimes. So would you say that you bear any responsibility? Not for war crimes. I think that's hogwash. What they say, genocide, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, first of all, who says genocide? The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court.
The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has said this is a genocide. The UN has said this is a genocide. And we also got, the international, what was it? The genocide scholars? Yes, I'm trying to remember what the actual name was. You know what? I'm gonna make sure I pull it up though. I'm pretty sure it was like international something of genocide scholars. So, but let me make sure I got the exact name though. But yes, a bunch of genocide scholars pretty much came together and said, yeah, this is a genocide. Here's the thing. They've been studying genocide for years, probably longer than you've been alive, but somehow you know more than them. Crazy. And I'm talking about you, the viewer, who actually doesn't think that this is genocide. BB, hey, he's old enough.
Who came up with this? Genocide is the attempt to wipe out a people. The actual attempt and plan to wipe out a people, and the actual...
Bro, you called them the Amalek. In the Bible, you wiped out even the children and the cattle of these people, and you referred to the Palestinians as the Amalek. How else were we supposed to say that? How was I supposed to take it? I'm pretty sure everybody else took it quite the same if you even seen the video.
Action that you do. In Gaza, they accuse us of genocide. We sent millions of text messages and millions of phone calls and millions of leaflets telling Palestinians, civilians, get out of harm's way so that we can take out the Hamas terrorists who are embedded in your schools, your hospitals, your communities.
It is. That's who it is. All right. It's the International Association of Genocide Scholars, along with individual specialists like Holocaust historian Amos Goldberg and International Association of Genocide Scholars president Melanie O'Brien. And they both sound about Jewish as hell. But yes, these two people and pretty much an entire association of genocide scholars are saying that yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is a genocide. But to give you more details on this, it passed in August 2025 with 86% of the voting members supporting the formal declaration that the Israeli policies in Gaza fulfilled the 1948 UN Genocide Convention criteria. Yes, these are the facts. Actually, you can go to their website too. I mean, no, I could pull up the website for you. Why not? You might as well just go all the way there because there's some disbelievers, and I can completely get it. Look, I get it. Some of y'all been supporting Israel since day one, and you've been blinded, and that's perfectly fine. But it is right here, guys. The international. No, I'm going to go ahead and make it mainstream for the disbelievers. The International Association of Genocide Scholars and individual experts like Melanie O'Brien and Amos Goldberg and Samuel Letterman stated that Israel's action in Gaza met the legal definition of a genocide. And guys, if you actually listen to Israeli politicians in their language about the Palestinians, then yes, you understand where the claim is coming from. It's not just about the action. It's about the language of the leadership that's committing the action as well. Because, I mean, it's kind of fucked up, but it's weird how you can do the actions of a genocide, but if you don't say it out loud, then it's really hard for people to stick you on it. Israel, well, they're committing the action and they're saying it out loud, like they're using genocidal language. I mean, there was another example of genocidal language with Ben Gvir, their national security guy. So that guy literally went out there and said that for every Israeli mother's tear, there'll be 1,000 Lebanese mothers weeping. All of Lebanon must burn. I mean, are you serious? And this is what you also got to understand, guys. In Israel, they actually teach the hatred of Arabs and Muslims. It's literally taught to them in their books. They literally omit history and make the Palestinians look like these, well, I guess people out of home, make them look like they're just terrorists that wants to kill them. It's taught to them since they were little. So I can understand why Israelis think like that. I can perfectly understand that you grew up with it. But you guys growing up in America with equality and all this good stuff, that's unacceptable. Y'all supporting this is unacceptable. But we can also go into the International Association of Genocide Scholars resolution. Because like I said, it passed in August 2025 with 86% of its voting members supporting the determination that the Israeli policies in Gaza violated the 1948 UN Genocide Convention. And it's on their own website. I know, right? International Association of Genocide Scholars.org. I know. I mean, bro, you can damn near sources for your college paper, and it's a perfect citation because it's a .org. I wish I could get a .edu for you, but hey, I could only do so much. But make sure you double tap that screen and like the video, guys. And like I said, any question, comments, joke, disagreements, please super chat it in. Let's keep it going.
The civilians from leaving at gunpoint. Clearly, and that's how we got civilian casualties that eventually went down, I'm happy to say. Why did we do that? If we had this genocidal intent, we obviously didn't. It's the exact opposite. The genocidal intent was Hamas. They wanted those civilians killed so they can go on TV or go to the corrupt international criminal court and accuse us of war crimes. But that's not us. We value every civilian life. Every civilian life lost is a tragedy. And we'll do, so far, we've incurred a lot.
Guys, since the ceasefire, over 1,000 Palestinians have died. Since the ceasefire. So they're supposed to stop firing in Palestine, but they're continuing to do so. Yeah.
Fewer civilians to combatants lost than just about in any urban warfare in modern times.
If you feel that what's happening in Gaza is being misrepresented, why not allow journalists in, independent of Israeli forces?
Yeah, we do, I think, sometimes. But the problem there is it's a war zone. It's still rockets.
You know what? I wish you to super chat that in, but you know what? That's actually a good question. And shout out to Claire. And I'm going to answer this question for you. You want to know why? Because countries are more than just their religion. Like, just because you're Muslim and you go to Malaysia doesn't mean you're just going to fit in because you're Muslim. I mean, it's still, what about the Malaysian people's culture outside of the religion? Like, did you forget, like, that you're going to be more accepted in Malaysia if you're Malaysian? You're going to be more accepted in Iraq if you're Iraqi, Yemen if you're Yemenis. I mean, all these places that are Muslim countries, yeah, you just can't fit in just because you're Muslim. That's like me telling you, why don't you go to Mexico? It's a Catholic Christian country. You should do well in there, but you might get killed. I could say the same thing about Venezuela, the same thing about Brazil. I mean, come on now. So just because that's your religion doesn't mean that you're just going to fit in any country that adopts your religion. It also matters your race, your culture as well. Like, that throws into it. So you just can't say, oh, why can't Muslims go to just the 54 countries that, is their country's religion? Because they're not, most likely not that race. It means a little bit more it means a little bit more when it comes to nationality than just religion here. Like, guys, we all consider ourselves American, but not all of us are Christian. So it's a little bit different. You feel me? Like, not just because you're Christian don't mean that you're just going to fit in here in America. Let's be real here. But yeah, you got to think about it like not so surface level. It's like, come on now. Like, people got different cultures, different races, tribes, all that good stuff. It's a little deeper than just religion.
Are flying, mines are exploding. There are terror tunnels out of which terrorists emerge. And what do you do when journalists get killed? But I think people, you can see what's happening. We don't hide it. I mean, anybody can use a Google map to find out exactly what is happening. This war was prompted by the worst assault on Jews since the Holocaust, with the raping and beheading of women and the burning of babies and
yeah, you know what? That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Because trust me, Hamas did that and they should be condemned and killed. Trust me, I feel you. I feel it. But when the IDF turns around and do the same exact thing to Palestinian prisoners, women, children, grown-ass men, talking about using dildos and also using dogs as well to rape these prisoners. Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. It's really hard to not also call that out as well. Like, yeah, sure, we can call out Hamas, but can we also call out the IDF as well? Because, and let's be real, I do hate how the Zionists do this. Just because I call out the IDF and their crimes and their atrocities doesn't mean I'm ignoring whatever Hamas is doing. And also, I mean, look, Hamas ain't calling them this. They're calling themselves the most moral army in the world. Okay, they're not the ones. They're not claiming that, but the IDF is. So let's not forget that part.
The slaughter of our men and the taking of hundreds of hostages, men, women, and children by these killers. Who proceeded also to cause casualties among Palestinian civilians. They don't care about the Palestinian civilians. They have this whole tunnel network underneath Gaza. They wouldn't let the civilians go in there. So that's what we're fighting. And where's the world? We're fighting these horrible, massacring terrorists.
Now, here's the thing. It's like, okay, great. Hamas is terrible. You're right. They're terrible. Actually, you only let in the Palestinians that actually were in support of Hamas. If you weren't actually in support of Hamas, you wasn't getting in those tunnels, or if you weren't a hostage, because their hostage was their biggest bargaining tool when it came to negotiating with Israel. So if you weren't those two things, you weren't getting in that tunnel, and that's terrible. But that doesn't mean that you sit there and recklessly bomb Palestine, killing over 80,000 Palestinians. Though. I mean, trust me, we hear you, but still doesn't excuse your actions.
And I find in New York that the mayor of New York, his family, they don't condemn them. I understand that members of his family actually celebrated the October 7th massacre. What? Against this democracy, Israel, that is being vilified, lied about, described as war criminals. We're fighting your battle.
No, you're not.
Iran.
No, the fuck you not, dude. You're starting your own battles and then claiming that you're fighting a battle for us. I think shout out to Myron Gaines. He had the best example or the best analogy. It's like, bro, it's like you're in your apartment and you have a friend that comes over, right? Your friend comes over, but sadly, he's a bit dirty, he's a bit messy, and bugs start coming around. Now, your friend, he's clutch, or at least he's accountable. He's accountable, and he goes out there and solve the bugs, right? He goes out there and get the pest control and all that good stuff. But he then turns around and says, oh, yeah, aren't you happy that I went ahead and solved this problem for you? Yeah, I sure did take out all those bugs for you. Yep, I defended you from those bugs. And you look at him like, nigga, you brought in the bugs. Like, thank you for cleaning up your own mess, but please don't tell me you're doing it for me, though. Okay, don't fool yourself like that.
Iran wants to destroy you. We're a model democracy fighting against the barbarians. And in New York City, the mayor of New York City celebrates the barbarians. And a day later,
no, he doesn't celebrate Hamas. Mondani does not celebrate Hamas. There was none of that, but he does think that Bibi should be locked up on war crimes. And so do I. So do I. And so does most of you guys in the chat. Like, let's be real. It's not a crazy thing to sit there and like watch Bibi commit to a genocide. And now everybody's like, yeah, he needs to get locked up. Like, you know what? Maybe while, you know, he's staying in New York at his hotel. FBI, open up! But that's not going to happen because, yeah, Israel still has a pretty strong hold on our government still. Despite the fallen support from the people, they still have a good amount of support in our government on both the Democrat and the Republican side. I know, right? Got their clutches on both. Dumping money into all types of elections.
A Jew is stabbed, coming out of a...
Oh, guys, like I said, if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, go ahead and feel free to super chat it in or send in a Venmo, guys. I appreciate the support. Make sure you double tap that screen, like the video as well. And subscribe to the channel. You've been watching longer than 10 minutes.
Synagogue. I don't think that's accidental. We should remember who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. We're fighting with you, shoulder to shoulder, with brave American soldiers to prevent barbarism from winning.
Vice President J.D. Vance recently told Joe Rogan that Israel is attempting to undermine the end to the war in Iran. And I want to quote him. He said that people in your system are manipulating and trying to change American public opinion to keep the war going on. How do you respond to that?
Well, we're not actually. And I had a very good conversation with the vice president this morning. And I think we straightened that out.
Guys, when we first engaged in the first ceasefire, there was literally Israeli politicians making fun of Trump and the vice president, pretty much calling us cowards. We ain't got no follow through. The Americans are embarrassing themselves. Oh, no, they was over there talking shit in Israel because we didn't pretty much finish the job with Iran. You know, the same Iran that they've been, hyping up, fear mongering about for, a good 40 years. But for some reason, when it's time to step up to Iran, they want to take a back seat. It's like, okay, that's kind of crazy how you have these comments towards our leadership, but you don't want to go out there yourself.
Because that's not our policy. Individuals in our system can have their opinions, but government policy is dictated by me, and that's not our policy.
Palestinians in the West Bank, many of them say that they're at a breaking point because of increased violence. As you know, a number of Palestinian Americans have died in some of those clashes. Why can't your government prevent that from happening?
I think we have. I mean, look, there have been about 1,000 terrorist attempts from Palestinians in the territories against our civilians, men, women, children, families that drive along the roads.
That is so crazy how he just does it so smooth like that. Like, he will literally sit there and say, well, actually, it's the Palestinians that are disturbing the settlers. Like, yeah, I mean, hold on. You understand that the West Bank is supposed to be Palestinian, like, land, right? Supposed to be their territory. But you got settlers going over there, kicking them out their house, burning down their agriculture, and the Palestinians are the terrorists? I mean, that is insane. But guys, no. The Palestinians in the West Bank aren't the ones harassing the Israelis. It's the Israeli settlers that are coming over there harassing the Palestinians and kicking them off or kicking them out of the West Bank. Pretty much doing ethnic cleansing right before our eyes. And then, calling you anti-Semitic for calling it out.
Machine gunned by these terrorists. So we've been able to prevent a lot of that. Sometimes they're hot-headed, basically juvenile delinquents, about 150 a number, that try to, I don't call it take the law into their own hands, because I think vigilantism is against the law, and we're taking action against them. But put it in proportion, the vast majority of the settler community, like 99.9%, are law-abiding citizens, and we have to live in peace side by side. But we confront terror where we can, and I will certainly not tolerate vigilantism on our side. I don't.
Bro, I'm just gonna call it out right now, guys. They're trying to force another October 7th, and they're trying to force it out of the West Bank. Look, the way they were treating people in Gaza was absolutely atrocious. So, and that is actually what kind of forced Hamas into that position, or honestly, that's what radicalized Hamas into that position to attack Israel on October 7th, was because of the treatment or the oppression that the Israelis was putting upon the Palestinians. They're doing the same fucking thing in the West Bank, thinking that they're not going to get the same result here. Like, that's insanity. So you're going to have these Israeli settlers go in there pretty much, and I'm be real with you, outright dog these Palestinians in front of their family, hold them at gunpoint, walk them through the village, burn their agriculture, kick them out. And you think that's not going to cause another October 7th? Like, you don't think these Palestinians are eventually going to get tired and they're going to try to commit another attack against Israel, and it's going to be all your fault because of how you're doing them in the West Bank. But don't worry, it's all good though, because they'll hit you with the propaganda like the guys in the West Bank started it, even though we've been hearing stories for about, I don't know, at least 2-3 years about how the settlers and the Israeli settlers has been pretty much pushing Palestinians out the West Bank. And the Palestinians didn't do anything at all. They just believe that that land should be all theirs.
Do you support a Palestinian state?
No, I'll tell you why not. Because we had one. It's called Gaza.
Bro.
And in fact, it was a defense.
It's a Palestinian state, but they don't control their own infrastructure. They don't control what goes in and out of their own country or their own state. But you gave them their own state, though. Bro, cut the bullshit. It's like you can't tell somebody they gave them their state, but you can't control your infrastructure. Like, that's insane.
Back to a Palestinian state. And what was it used for? To launch this horrible massacre against us. Hamas says openly that it's out to destroy every Jew, kill every Jew in the world, kill every Jew in Israel.
No, and shout out to somebody who said it in the chat too. There's also another reason, because a lot of people don't know that the October 7th mission was called Operation Alexa Flood. And the reason why it was called Operation Alexa Flood was because the Israelis was hinting that they're about to destroy the Alexa Mosque, which is on the Dome on the Rock, where Moses received the commandments from God. So this is a very critical spot in both Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And the Muslims got to build a mosque on it. I mean, shout out to them. That's kind of dope. But due to this, it's kind of getting in the way of the Israelis' prophecy, because they got to go ahead and bring in the red heifer, sacrifice it, which they've already done actually, sprinkle it across the where they're supposed to build the third temple now. And to build a third temple, they pretty much got to destroy the Alexa Mosque, which is the third holiest site in Islam. Because remember, it's on the Dome on the Rock where I think it was Moses. Yeah, I believe it was where Moses stood to receive the 10 Commandments. So, yeah. Very critical location. And if they end up destroying it, they're going to bring the wrath of, 2 billion Muslims on them. And you're saying, Seth, well, why would they do this? Because they believe that they're going to bring back the Antichrist. I'm sorry, but their Messiah. Yes, they think that if they bring the cow in, kill the cow, ethnically cleanse the Palestinians, blow up the mosque, build the temple, that boom, then they'll get their Messiah.
The Palestinian Authority on the other side, supposedly their rivals, said that they're out for the dissolution of Israel.
Oh, yeah. Shout out some guy on YouTube. I appreciate the support, bro. Hey, welcome back to the show. You get a celebration.
Raise a blade.
All right. And all right. And shout out to my dog. All right, mama. And all right, guys, we're about to go ahead and get right back into it. Make sure you double tap that screen, like the video, guys. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it, just like I did with my man, some guy on YouTube who says support. On God, guys. Support by double tapping that screen, liking the video. And, if you want to send in a gift or a super chat, if you can, God bless. But all right, though, let's get back to it.
It would be a state that would conduct war against us, which will bring about the demise of the Jewish state. So you want peace with the Palestinians, but not at the expense of our survival. Nobody wants to commit national suicide.
So last question for you. Our show recently did a story about a father of 8 living in Gaza. He has a 3-year-old daughter who he said barely can get food, has no education, there's no future. He described their family as being buried alive in the Gaza Strip. And so really a two-parter. What is your plan for the Palestinian people? And when you look at these images of Gaza, is there anything you would have done differently?
No, you can always do things differently, but I think the most important thing is you have to make sure that you have to get rid of Hamas. I mean, Hamas is a terrorist organization that if you have Palestinians who want to live in peace with Israel, they take them to.
I'm sorry, but you're killing me with this one because it's just like, hold on, dog. Yeah, you said that there was 25,000 Hamas members, and I ain't gonna lie, through your reckless killing of the Palestinians, I'm pretty sure they recruited a lot more members because you radicalized them. But it's kind of crazy how there's only 25,000 members of Hamas, but somehow they've killed over 85,000 Palestinians. My bad, about 75,000. Let's be charitable. But there will be more added once they lift the rubble. And here's the thing, Hamas is still around, and they can't even tell you how much of Hamas they killed. Like, literally cannot tell you. Actually, the last number I heard of Hamas being killed was like 5,000. That's it. That's all. And that's the last number we got. After that, everything else has just been civilians.
The town square, and they put a bullet in the back of their head. That's what they do. It's a killer organization. You have Palestinians in Gaza who are now fighting Hamas because they want a different life. They want a life of freedom. They have to.
No, you have Palestinians in Gaza fighting Hamas because you back them. Yes, there is a Israeli Palestinian backed militia group in Palestine, well, in Gaza. And it's pretty much funded by Israel. And it's kind of crazy because Israel really started funding it when the ceasefire was coming about. But yes, this is how they're also fighting Hamas on the ground. They have a Palestinian or Israeli Palestinian-led militia group that they use to go against Hamas. And this is why Hamas has not been able to disarm, because we're trying to get Hamas to disarm, but they can't. Why? Because not only is Israel bombing them, but this Israeli-funded Palestinian-led militia group, well, it's pretty much attacking them as well. So how can you disarm when you're constantly at, well, war's pretty much still, even though there's a ceasefire? Ain't it kind of funny how, there's a ceasefire, they ain't stopped firing on the Palestinians. They're still funding their little proxy of Palestinians in Gaza, but they want the Iranians to stop funding their proxies. Ain't that crazy?
To toe the line with Hamas, succumb to their horrible cruelties and their violence, and certainly not be allowed to go somewhere else if they so wish. I think they should have the freedom of choice, and I think they should have freedom of terror. And for that, Hamas has to be disarmed, and Gaza has to be demilitarized. That's our plan. Disarm, demilitarize Gaza, and de-radicalize it. That's what is needed to happen in Gaza to give them a new life and to give a chance for peace.
Prime Minister, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get right back into the media analysis here. We did a nice little interview with Bibi. I know he pissed us off, but it is what it is. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off on international news because U.S. forces launched strikes against Iran. Pretty much Iran's tried to strike. They popped it off this time first. Iran sent about 5 missiles to Jordan. Now, according to our reports, they were all intercepted. But now we got America striking Iran, and Iran pretty much sending more missiles at Jordan. So we're pretty much right back into it, right back to kinetic strikes. But let's see if let's see if we get a ceasefire next day or within the next week, because I know it's like we go back to fighting for like 5 to 7 days and then we stop because, we're running low on munition. But all right, though, let's get to it.
All right, we've got some breaking news. The U.S. is carrying out strikes on Iran just hours after Donald Trump threatened to hit the country hard. So explosions have been heard near the Strait of Hormuz. This is the first American attack on the country since Friday, July the 24th. The U.S. administration said last week it was pausing the bombing campaign to give diplomacy some space.
Did not work.
All right. The background on this, we have seen over the last 48 hours, we have seen strikes on Saudi Arabia from Iran-backed groups inside of Iraq. The Americans have struck those groups, killing many people, including some IRGC members. And of course, the Iranians have also attempted to strike a U.S. military base in Jordan. The Americans have said that those strikes were shot down. Of course, the U.S. president today said that there would be payback. He said they're going to get a beating. We'll be hitting them hard. And he also used many expletives to describe what the Americans are going to do to the Iranians. Okay. Let's go to our chief U.S. correspondent, Alan Fisher, who joins us.
And we're pretty much striking inside of Iran now. But, as we're striking inside of Iran, Iran is striking back, trying to pretty much knock out all of our allies in the Gulf. And right now they're focusing on Jordan mainly because of, one of our bases there. A pretty important base, actually. Oh, guys, and make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys, and any question, comments, jokes, disagreements. Make sure to super chat it in. I'll be happy to engage with it. But let's keep it going.
Intercepted 5. Jordan says it's intercepted 5 missiles launched from Iran towards its territory. The Jordanian armed forces say there were no casualties and the military remains on high alert. Over to Victoria Gatenby, live here in Doha. Victoria, so what more are you hearing about these missile interceptions over Jordan?
Yeah, so in the last few minutes, as you say, Jordan's armed forces has released a statement saying that it has intercepted and destroyed 5 missiles in its airspace fired from Iran. It has reported no casualties so far, but it says it remains on a high state of alert and is ready to do what it can and what it takes to secure the country and also the safety of its citizens. Now, this targeted attack by Iran comes just a day after Jordan confirmed it had intercepted 5 other missiles on Wednesday morning that also in its airspace says launched from Iran. Now, Iran said it was targeting a U.S. airbase and command headquarters in Jordan. It says it was in response to aggression by the U.S. military. Those missiles were also intercepted and destroyed. That attack widely condemned by GCC countries on Wednesday. These attacks on Jordan and also the events of Wednesday when Saudi Arabia launched retaliatory strikes on Iran-backed groups in Iraq is causing some concern in this region.
Which was insane because a lot of people criticized them because it was like, hold on. It was the Houthis that attack you in Yemen. Why are you attacking the guys up there in Iraq? And they were like, oh, well, there are weapons coming from there too. But no, it came from the Houthis. Why'd you attack those guys in Iraq? Like, what's going on here? You're just further expanding the war. And guys, like I'm saying, it's like you see how all of these Middle Eastern countries are now getting involved. It's like I said, we got the US and Iran, we got Israel involved in this, we got Yemen now involved, Saudi Arabia's in it, Qatar's in it, Kuwait, Bahrain, like, bro. And now we got even Iraq is about to get in as well, or now already involved because they've been struck by Saudi Arabia. It's turning into a regional war. Well, actually, it is a regional war.
Now, there is a worry that this war, this conflict is broadening out, dragging other countries into it. And that's exactly what GCC countries want to avoid. So they are working hard behind the scenes to kind of push a diplomatic solution to this crisis, despite the fact that the two sides, the US and Iran, seem very intransigent at the moment.
Victoria Gatenby, live here in Doha. Victoria, thank you.
All right, now let's see what CNN got to say about this. We're going to start off on the left side of media and make way over to the right on this one.
Just a day after Iran's failed missile strike on U.S. forces in Jordan, Central Command made the following announcement just in the last several minutes. We're quoting here that U.S. forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. Eastern time today, a little over a half hour ago. The strikes, CENTCOM says, are a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attacks on U.S. forces based in the Middle East, end quote. We're joined now by retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Leighton. And listen, there's been a lot of telegraphing of these attacks today. President Trump said so, including in some colorful language in an interview earlier today, that he would be striking back for those Iranian missile attacks we saw yesterday. What is the military objective of strikes like this? Is it purely retaliation?
Well, that's one part of it, Jim. I think what we're seeing is not only retaliation, but also the potential for the start of something else. And there's some reports out there that Admiral Cooper, the commander of U.S. CENTCOM, might be planning a 10 to 14-day campaign. So whether this is the start of that or not is, of course, something that we don't know yet. But that is certainly a possibility. But at the very least, retaliation, but also the need to engage in measures that basically result in force protection. And that would include going after some of the areas where missiles are launched from, particularly in western Iran and also some in southwestern Iran. So that would be one of the primary objectives, I would think.
The trouble is, Colonel Leighton, is that the U.S. and Israel have been striking such targets for months now.
Yep.
And Iran has maintained a capability, a diminished capability, but a capability nonetheless, to strike its neighbors and to strike U.S. bases in the region.
I mean, and that's the problem. Like, none of that's really been diminished. Like, we've committed all these strikes over, like, bro, over 200 strikes along their coast, and even more in going deeper into Iran. And we still can't stop them from closing the strait. We still can't stop all their missiles and drones from hitting our bases and our allies. It's like, and we still can't get a regime change in here, even though people like to say that wasn't the goal. But I mean, let's be honest here. If that wasn't the goal, then what was the point of taking out the supreme leader day one and then telling the Iranians to take back their institutions? I mean, come on now. We all heard that.
With impact, right? And the U.S. lost 4 soldiers in Jordan just a short time ago. What is the evidence that a new night of strikes or round of strikes will reliably eliminate that threat?
I don't think we can say that any strikes that are currently being conducted will eliminate that threat. I think the evidence is pretty clear, as you laid out, Jim, that the efforts that we've done so far, that we've conducted so far, are not resulting in an elimination of the Iranian capability to strike at targets that include U.S. personnel and U.S. assets. So that's going to be a real problem. What they can do is they can coerce Iran toward another goal, and that other goal might be the negotiating table, but right now it sure doesn't look like we're going in that direction.
Well, and listen, to that point, the president has claimed multiple times that Iran is...
Because think about it, we stopped it, and one of the reasons why we stopped it because we was running low on munitions, but we pretty much stopped firing just for Iran to stop firing, and guess what? Iran starts backfiring, and there's pretty much saying because of some type of military move we were doing, but they didn't really specify what in God's name we did. Honestly, it kind of looks like they're just being bold now. Instead of waiting for us to attack them, they're just doing it themselves. They're thinking that, okay, you guys are still over here meeting with Bibi, you're still meeting with Zelensky, who just attacked us. So if that's a symbolic hint towards us that you're going to continue the war, let's send you a little bit of symbolism as well. So they fired off those damn missiles. Like, it makes sense. Or like I said, it could just be feeling a little bit bold.
Interested in going back to the table, desperate to go back to the table. But we had the deputy foreign minister say a short time ago that we have sent no request for negotiation with the U.S. during the past 16 to 17 days, at least in public statements. They're not expressing any immediate desire. A question I have for you is, because we've talked a lot about the impact of the war in Iran on U.S. missile stockpiles, particularly interceptor missiles, air defense missiles, those that go into Patriots, etc., but also attack missiles like the Tomahawk, for instance. Can the U.S. military, and would you expect the military in strikes like the one we're seeing tonight, particularly if it were to go on for 10 to 14 days, is there a way to reduce the expenditure of those missiles so that you don't back yourself deeper into a supply hole, right? Magazine depth, as folks talk about.
Yeah, so that's a really difficult problem set for American commanders to deal with, because we've been used to expending missiles like the Tomahawk and similar missiles.
It's like, if we keep on doing these strikes without really, I guess, watering down Iran's capability to strike our allies and our bases in the region, if these strikes don't bring that result, then we are just wasting munitions. If it's not getting us no military gains, then we're wasting. While Iran is making us also waste defensive missiles while firing at our bases. So it's like, bro, yeah, what's going on here? Like, what's the goal? Because bombing them from the air is not going to work, sadly. So where's the commitment here? What are you guys committing to? Are you committing to boots on the ground? Because that's going to be a terrible idea. Are you committing to an airstriking campaign? Because that's just not going to work. And we're just wasting millions of dollars on bombs we're dropping. Like, come on now. Where do you see a W at? That's what I'm also wondering too. And this is kind of crazy. This is why I always say that, like, bro, it's insane how they have the audacity to start this war why nobody wants it, or why most Americans don't want it, give us no real results in this war, but then we'll automatically start coming back to us for money on a war they can show us no results in. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be real with you, Republicans. That's gonna be hard for y'all to argue on, come midterms. Good luck, though. Good luck.
As well as our air defense missiles in a fairly free manner. And, when you...
Hey, shout out AJ for sending the press F for the 10 joules. Appreciate the support, sis.
Look at the expenditure rates in Iran versus in Ukraine. The expenditure rates in Iran are much, much higher than they are for Ukraine. And there are a lot of reasons for that. But the key factor here is this. The U.S. has really left its defense industrial base lacking in this particular case, the capacity for our industrial base to reproduce those missiles and to bring them out to the front lines where they.
And I know it's probably like my third time playing this video, but it explains his point so well. So check this out.
America has the strongest military in the world, but this war just exposed its biggest weakness. And it's not what you think. It's not the soldiers. It's not the technology. It's math. On the very first day of this war, America killed Iran's supreme leader. That was supposed to be checkmate. The regime was supposed to crack. But it didn't. Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow strip of water that carries 1/5 of the world's oil. And suddenly the strongest military on earth had a problem it couldn't bomb its way out of. Then Iran went on the attack. American bases hit in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Iraq and Jordan were hit. Even British bases in Cyprus and also in the Indian Ocean. Iran's cheap drones flew so low they slipped right past billion-dollar defense systems. America's own defense secretary and top general privately admitted to Congress that these drones were a problem they couldn't fully stop. In just the first 4 days of this war, American Patriot batteries fired 943 interceptor missiles. Sounds fine, right? Because America has plenty. Except that the factories that build these missiles produce about 620 per year. So in 4 days, America used up 18 months of production. 4 days. 18 months. And it didn't stop there. Halfway through this war, America had burned through roughly half of its Patriot missiles. Half of its THAAD interceptors too. The most advanced defense system it has. Each THAAD missile costs almost $13 million. The factory makes about 100 a year. Experts say refilling that stockpile could take up to 8 years. 8 years to recover from a few months of fighting a country with an economy smaller than the state of Florida. Now stop and think about what that really means. For years, America has talked about being ready to take on Russia, ready to defend Taiwan against China. 2 wars at once if needed, that was the claim. But Iran isn't Russia. Iran isn't China. Iran is a country crushed by sanctions, with an air force from the 1970s. And this fight still drained half of America's best missiles. Now China builds weapons faster than any country on earth. Its factories outproduce American factories many times over. Russia has been in full war mode for years. So here is the question nobody in Washington wants to answer out loud. If a few months against Iran emptied the shelves this badly, what happens when America is up against a real superpower? America even paused weapons deliveries to Taiwan during this war because there simply wasn't enough to go around. And the Allies noticed it. Japan, South Korea, everyone noticed. You can be sure Beijing noticed it too. Every rival on the planet is looking at the same numbers we just showed you. The empty shelves, the 8-year refill, the pause on Taiwan. America is still the strongest military in the world. That part is true. But the strongest military in the world just showed everyone its limits. And in a world full of enemies, the most dangerous thing you can lose is not a battle. It's the fear.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because we're running low on interceptors and all that good stuff, but yet Ukraine think that we're going to help them out when they want to fire off on Iran. It's like, bro, you can't even protect yourself from Russian missiles and drones right now. What are you doing trying to drag yourselves into this war with Iran? Like, are you kidding me? But, since you don't really care about his people, he just cares about, continuing this war. Apparently, he's trying to pop off World War III. It's a bit insane, but this is what he's going for. He's saying, look, if I could drag the whole world in against Russia, maybe I could win. Maybe. And that's kind of what he's committing to right now. But that's just my wild speculation. Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, go ahead and super chat it in or go ahead and send it in the Venmo. Appreciate the support. Let's keep it going.
It can be used is not as robust as it should be. And I think it's become pretty clear that, with the expenditures that we've seen in Iran, that there's a lot of work to be done in that particular area. So for this offensive to succeed, I think they are going to be, basically rationing some of the missiles they're using, but they're going to try to make them as effective as possible. And that's going to be a key element right there.
New CNN polling on the war showing that 72% of Americans disapprove of how the president is handling the conflict. 73% say he is not paying enough attention to the actual problems that most Americans faced.
Yeah.
And 70% disapprove of his handling of the economy. John, first, do Democrats in Iowa see the war as an opportunity to gain advantage? I mean, obviously, some of these are tougher battlegrounds than others, but do they see this as potentially driving their political fortunes in the fall?
They know that it's helping them, Jim. The language always has to be careful. Some of the first fatalities were here in Iowa. So people here, opposition to the war runs high. Questions about the president's policy runs high. But Democrats say it is just simply a fact that their standing in some of the races out here have improved. You're called Iowa a battleground state. Just that is kind of breaking news, if you will. Look at it. I'll show you. I have the mini magic wall with me on the road. Go back to 2024. I mean, Donald Trump won here less than 2 years ago, November 2024, by 13 points, right? Look at all the red on this map. Right, rural America is Trump country, and Iowa is a big rural state. But number one, this state has a deep anti-war history. It was an unpopular war 20 years ago in 2006, Iraq. That was the last time Iowa Democrats elected a governor. They think they might be.
Actually, you know, so crazy too, though. Like, they were also trying to push Bush into going into Iran as well. But even he knew better. It's like, bro, look how much trouble Iraq gave us. You want me to go into Iran? That we actually funded Saddam, yes, the same guy that we were just now overthrowing, that we funded this same guy to go up against Iran, and he couldn't do it. We had trouble whooping this guy's ass. I mean, what makes you think we're just going to take out Iran? So even Bush understood that war with Iran was a very stupid idea that the Israelis pushed and persist on for years until one day Trump came down the golden escalator, and it was all fucked up from there. But we had hope, though.
To do that this year. 2 years after that, in 2008, Iowa, first the caucuses, and then in November, lost Barack Obama into the history books because of the unpopular Iraq war at the time. Now it's the Iran war. You see all that red again, Jim. I just want to say, if you have all this red, what is that? That's farms. That's diesel fuel for your tractors, your combines, and your other equipment. That is gasoline to drive. That is fertilizer for those farms as well, which costs money, and some farmers say getting more scarce in this. And just one other point, as gas prices...
Now, you know what the effed up part about it is? I guarantee you, if you look up, so what's the highest crime in Iowa? You know what? I almost want to say what city has the highest crime in Iowa, and it's most likely going to be one of these blue cities. You know what? Can I... F it. I mean, man. City with the highest crime rate in Iowa. Let's see here. Fort Dodge. Is Fort Dodge here on the map, guys? All right, never mind then. I guess I was wrong. Thank God. Because I'm not going to lie. I'm tired of being right while every time I call out, like, you know what? Bet the highest crime is in one of these blue cities. And I damn near be right 90% of the time. So thank God. But all right, though. Let's get back to it.
Go up every time this comes back. If you go from Illinois to Nebraska, that's 300 miles. This is a big rural state. If you go from Minnesota down to Missouri below us, that's 200 miles.
Actually, nope, never mind. I was right. Sorry, guys. But Des Moines right here. Yes, Des Moines, Iowa. Des Moines. I ain't glad it's like the wildest name to give a capital, a city. Sorry, a city. Well, let's see. For total overall crime, which includes the property crime, Clinton and Des Moines often top statewide lists. So yeah, it always is the blue cities, bro. The blue cities be the most dangerous, but and the most expensive. But I mean, they're pretty fun to live in, though. I mean, you know, a variety of people live in these blue cities.
Illinois to Nebraska, that's 300 miles. This is a big rural state. If you go from Minnesota down to Missouri below us, that's 200 miles to drive. If you live in a big rural state, you drive a lot. When gas prices go up, you get mad. When you get mad, you take it out of the party in power.
No question. And diesel prices up even more than gas prices.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing, though. It's not like these guys are just going to vote for blue. They're just not going to vote at all. Like, what's going to happen is there's going to be bad voter turnout for the Republicans because it kind of disheartened the Republicans or the conservatives through Trump's, BS actions. And now what is this? But you know what y'all did also do while disheartening y'all voters? You inspired the Democrats to go 10 times harder to show up with a larger voter turnout. So trust me, it's not going to be about Republicans turning Democrat. Trust me, that's not going to happen. But it's going to actually be about, the Democrats doubling down and actually having a bigger voter turnout. That's what's going to cook us. It's going to be our voter turnout being low because we're not getting what we want, and the Democrats' voter turnout being higher because, they ain't been getting what they want from day one of this administration. So, you kind of understand it.
As you speak to voters, and the party officials there, given we're less than 100 days out from the midterms, and these numbers are awful for the president, is there anything they believe the president can do at this point that would fundamentally alter or at least lessen the political impact in November?
Yeah, when you talk.
Nah, they might be cooked. We just might be cooked, guys. We just might be cooked. But all right, though, let's get into this Saudi attack on Iraq.
Central Command says American and Saudi overnight, U.S. Central Command says American and Saudi forces conducted joint strikes against what they are calling Iran-backed terror sites in Iraq. And there is new video of some of the aftermath. We're showing this.
Oh, yeah, guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. And or smash that like button depending on how you're watching. And like Sky said, if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, make sure to send in a super chat. If you just want to support the show, you can go ahead and send in a gift, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching. Let's go.
Right here, at least 20 people were killed in the strikes. But this is also significant because until now, Saudi Arabia has avoided getting directly involved in the fight in the war. The strikes in Iraq come shortly after the U.S. military said it intercepted a surprise attack by Iran on U.S. forces. CENT comes as Iran launched multiple ballistic missiles. CNN's Zach Cohen is joining me now. He's got much more on this. And Zach, what are you hearing about the significance or how significant it is that Saudi Arabia is now getting in the fight in this way?
Yeah, Kate, it's potentially very significant. Saudi Arabia has spent 5 months actively trying to avoid getting dragged into this conflict, and it remains concerned along with the U.S. about it expanding and escalating within the region itself. But look, U.S. Central Command in a statement yesterday saying that Saudi Arabia over just the last 72 hours has faced over 30 IRGC-directed aerial drone attacks in just the last 72 hours, and that these joint strikes are intended to send a message and be a response that those attacks will not go unanswered. But it remains to be seen what this means that those attacks.
So let's see. U.S. military intercepted surprise attack on its forces by Iran. Jordan says intercepted 5 missiles from Iran. But okay. So Iran's attacking, but y'all attack Iraq? Well, let's go see the results of this attack, guys. Let's see here. It says U.S. Saudi strikes in Iran. At least 20 Iran-aligned members killed in strikes. I mean, all right, then I can't be mad at that. But, all right.
The human toll of a widening regional conflict was in clear view at this Mosul hospital on Wednesday. This is the body of one of more than 20 members of Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces to have been killed in a joint strike by Saudi Arabia and the US, according.
And yeah, well, I mean, I hate to say this, but basically, we bombed the right people in this situation because what was it? The Iraqi Popular Mobilization Force is an Iran-backed militia. They are an Iran-backed proxy, so it is what it is on this one.
To the group. Strikes targeted the Iran-backed PMF bases across the country. 7 provinces hit in a single night, from Kirkuk in the north to Basra in the south.
Yeah, PMF, the Popular Mobilization Force. That's the name of the Iran-backed group in Iraq.
4 advisors from Iran's Revolutionary Guard were killed in the strikes. In Baghdad, the Prime Minister convened an emergency meeting of the National Security Council. Its statement condemned the strikes and called for good neighborliness, a pointed message to Riyadh. The Prime Minister was due in the Saudi capital on Thursday, but now the visit has been postponed. The day's biggest headache for Ali al-Zaidi perhaps came from Washington. President Trump claimed the strikes were coordinated with Baghdad itself. It's a claim that could cause major political fallout for the new PM in the coming days and weeks.
Hey, and shout out AJ for sending in like 2-3 press ups for 10 joules. I appreciate the support, sis. For that support, you get a celebration. Oh, guys, you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements? Go ahead and send it in a super chat or Venmo. Or if you just want to show your support for the show, you can send in a gift as well. Like AJ, appreciate the support, sis.
On the streets of Baghdad, anger. PMF supporters rallied in the capital. Some factions want the Saudi ambassador expelled, and every deal from Prime Minister Zaidi's recent trip to America to be reviewed. For Iraq, it's a familiar situation, a war not of its making, being fought on its soil.
Which is tough because it's like we're kind of dragging them into it, Like, that's the problem. Like, what, you think we're just going to attack these guys, kill 20 of them, and they just going to take that to the chin? Like, no, not at all. Not at all, actually. I wish that's how it would happen. I wish they just take the 20 to the chin and be like, we surrender. We dissolve ourselves of Iran. We disown them, but they're not doing that. There she is. They're going to double down. Sadly. This is the problem with them. And this is the problem with striking these other proxies, is that we're dragging it. We're dragging the war into other lands, which is about to make this a regional conflict. Like I said, all these countries like lined up in the Middle East is now pretty much all in on this conflict at this point.
Will not go unanswered, but it remains to be seen what this means as far as the ongoing efforts by the Trump administration to push for some sort of a diplomatic settlement to end this war once and for all. And it also reflects something that we've reported in the past, that U.S. officials believe Iran now sees its ability to attack Gulf countries and specifically their energy infrastructure, including Saudi Arabia's, as one of its asymmetric capabilities that it can use as leverage to continue to apply pressure.
Which they did. They did bomb Saudi Arabia's, what was it here? So Saudi Arabia said Monday that it intercepted a number of drones that Iran-backed militias in Iraq had launched at the kingdom's oil facility. So this is one of the reasons why they struck Iraq. Okay, so this makes sense. But let me go ahead and show you the article here from the Wall Street Journal. So pretty much, yeah, Saudi Arabia blames Iran-backed militias for attack on their oil facilities. And here's the thing. A lot of people try to sit there and say it wasn't true. But then, you know, these satellite images came through and was like, oh, yeah, actually, no, it is true. It is true. But yeah, satellite images show smoke rising from an oil facility in Abu Jarak, Saudi Arabia. So, yeah. But yeah, it says Saudi said Monday that it intercepted a number of drones that Iran-backed militias in Iraq had launched at the kingdom's oil facility. Riyadh demanded that in a statement that Iraq take all necessary measures to ensure the prevention of the use of its territory as a launching point. And of course, you know how Wall Journal get down. I know, right? It is what it is.
Pressure not just on the U.S., but its regional partners as well. And as you mentioned, too, those joint strikes by the U.S. and Saudi Arabia coming after Iran launched a new attack against a U.S. airbase in Jordan. This is the first time Iran has conducted an attack since President Donald Trump announced the U.S. was pausing combat operations, at least temporarily, as he tries to pursue a diplomatic agreement of some sort. So Iran really continuing to apply pressure to the United States and its regional partners, even as the Trump administration is still looking to give diplomacy some room to breathe.
Joining me now, David Sanger, White House and national security correspondent for the New York Times. David, good morning. I mean, a lot happening in the last 24 hours, I think is putting it mildly when we look at what is happening on both fronts with Iran and Ukraine. Let's start, though, if we could, with these attacks overnight and what we saw. The timing cannot be ignored, obviously, but also what has come out of that. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia joining forces now. Can you put this in perspective for us?
Sure. So, you know, last time that we discussed this, Erica, we talked about how the president was increasingly trapped by his inability to get out of this war. And I think in the past 24 hours, we've seen why. He stood down over the weekend from what he had threatened would be a massive attack. It looked like we had some peace in the region for a bit. And then 4 days into this, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which we believe is really running.
Hold on, guys. I'm reading some crazy headlines right now that we'll get into later. But, you know, just to give you a bit of a sneak peek, we got Russia strikes Ukraine capital with ballistic missiles. This came in about 6 hours ago. And then we got Iran claimed it foiled a U.S.-Israeli spy plot, arrested 19 in security sweeps. So we're also going to get into that as well. But we're going to go ahead and move past this video right now, and we're going to go ahead and get into this Piers Morgan debate. Well, actually, I'm going to get like 5 more minutes, and then we're going to get into the Piers Morgan debate.
Iran these days, or is the most influential force there, launches this not very large attack. It was 4 or fewer missiles that were at Jordan. Meanwhile, the Saudis, tired of being attacked by the Houthis and some Iran-backed militias, did some airstrikes in Iraq. And so you see that this is beginning to spread, or is continuing to spread throughout the region. And the more countries that get involved, the more difficult it gets to unwind this whole thing. So the whole question right now for the president is, could he even get the Iranians back to the position they were in a little more than a month ago when he signed that 14-point vaguely written plan that was supposed to launch a bigger negotiation?
Mr. Ambassador, what do you make of the fact that U.S. and Saudi Arabia are teaming up on this?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and you could add to the mix.
I mean, bro, striking their oil facility, and we need that oil. The world needs that oil. So, yeah, if they're striking that oil facility, they're pretty much threatening the world. So I can't even blame them. I completely understand why they went in there and struck the Iraqis, because they're over here threatening oil facilities. And this is the problem, because now you got Iraq being attacked. Well, not Iraq, but now you got Saudi Arabia being attacked by the proxy groups in Iraq and Iran's proxy group in Yemen, the Houthis. They're getting attacked on like both sides here. Like, and like at a certain point, they actually do have to get involved. They got to fight back the Houthis and the Iran-backed proxies in Iraq. This is going to be a tough one. And like I said, it's turning into a regional war and everybody's picking their sides.
The fact that the Iraqi prime minister was just in Washington the last couple of weeks telling President Trump that he's going to hit these Iran-based, Iran-backed groups very hard. So we have a situation where instead of the Iraqi forces hitting these Iraqi militants, it's the Saudis coming in. And that can't be welcomed at all by the Iraqis, who just had a conversation with the president 2 short weeks ago. So the issue, of course, with the Saudis is complicated, because about a week ago, it looked like the U.S. was launching a full civil nuclear deal with the Saudis, and clearly the president got caught.
Oh God, do me a favor and double tap that screen and like that video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen and liking the video. Also, if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, make sure to send it in through a super chat or Venmo, guys. All right, let's go ahead and get right back to it.
Feet about it, and he said one condition is the Saudis have to recognize Israel. Well, that wasn't going to work. So a lot going on there, and now,
I mean, yo, Trump did the Saudis so dirty, pretty much saying, oh yeah, we'll finally give you this nuclear reactor that you guys been begging for. Yeah, all you gotta do is pretty much recognize Israel. Yep, and join the Abraham Accords, which would be damn near the death of them. But I mean, hey, he tried, but sadly, you got to solve the Palestinian question before you can get the Abraham Accords, or you can before you start getting these Muslim countries start recognizing Israel. But hey, until then, they're gonna hold their signature off. All right, let's get into this Piers Morgan debate here. This was actually a pretty good one. He had like all the geopolitical experts on.
I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions.
I think we would have found out today whether he created the virus.
Bro, and it was low-key crazy because everybody, I was watching some clips and, bro, people were cussing his ass out. They were mad that he said that. They were like, ain't no way you just came here and plead the fifth in front of us after all the shit you caused. You're pretty much just saying you're guilty to all of it. And you got the pardon, so we can't really do nothing to you. So you just brag, like Loki just bragging in our face how we can't touch him and how he ain't going to incriminate himself. I'm just like, okay, bro. What was the point? But I'm going to tell you this right now, man. Fauci done pissed a lot of people off. I suggest he goes into witness protection, because I'm pretty sure people are going to be coming from that, for that. And I'm not supporting it. I do not support anybody really getting hurt. But what that man did, I would not be surprised.
And killed people if he hadn't taken the fifth.
How'd that meeting go? It was great. It was one of the best meetings that we've had.
That might be the only thing he's ever said that I believe.
They would happily kill every American.
What's your strategy for victory?
They would happily kill you as well.
If there's one thing that this war has done in a very short period of time, it has united Iranians inside the country.
Zelensky and Netanyahu traveled to D.C. for the funeral of Senator Lindsey Graham, at least officially. In reality, they were both here to see President Trump. And the unofficial summit provided an historic snapshot of a world in turmoil, which is convulsing in ways that nobody can predict. This last year, the Ukrainian president was humiliated by Trump over a war he said he'd end in 24 hours. Just 5 months ago, the Israeli prime minister was hailed a hero as he led the US into a war that was supposed to last 3 weeks. Now, Zelensky's on the rise. The US needs Ukraine's help to fight Iran. Netanyahu, on the other hand, landed in a country where almost half of the people in a new poll think he should be arrested for war.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie though. You know what? Let's go ahead and play this little video that was going over the funeral in a pretty hilarious way. But so if you're a Trump supporter, I'm gonna be real with you, you're about to be very offended. But if you're on the left, I mean, you're about to laugh your ass off. So I mean, hey, good for you though. Good for you. All right. Oh yeah. Do you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements? Go ahead and send it in. I'll go ahead and read them after this video.
Everything in the world is a manifest. Everything in the world is a
Disney in the closet Graham made you rest in shit. That man's funeral was iniquitous in the best way. President Trumpstein just got done saying, yeah, he's not liked by everybody. Then gives a nice little love tap. All right, Lindsay, see you never, man. Let me know how hell is, and Satan, because I'm going to be there soon.
Everyone, Republican or Democrat, liked Lindsay. Well, not everybody, but it sounds good. Not everybody. He was a tough cookie, okay? I have to veer from this for a second. He was a tough cookie, darling.
He was like, whoa, 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 liked by everybody. Come on now. Everybody hated that man. What are we talking about? You think people on the left, nobody on the left liked him.
In 2016, Lindsay said something rather nasty on his flight to becoming the next president of the United States. So naturally, I did something that I shouldn't have done. I shared his personal cell phone number with the millions of people that happened to be watching that particular day as I made a speech, a very important speech. And I remember the number 202-228-0292 if anybody wants to give it a shot. His phone exploded. He said, I had that number for 20 years. His phone totally, I don't know what he did with it, but it exploded. That was the beginning of a friendship in a way. But it was Lindsay who had the last laugh because while I blew up his phone, for one day, we became great friends, and Lindsay did not stop calling me for the next 10 years. It was nutty.
I absolutely hate bro, but he is fucking hilarious. And that's well-executed hate. What the fuck? Lindsay, he hating on me? Yeah, release his number. Fuck that. Hey, he ain't gonna send another text. And then to just end it with like, man, this motherfucker would not stop calling me. Bomb this, bomb that.
Our nation needs more men and women like that great person sitting, laying, wherever he may be. I think I know where he is, and I think he's up there. I think he's watching us. I'm pretty sure of it.
I already forgot your name, gang, but let me just, drive this point home. You are not in heaven looking down at anything. You are looking up. I already know. Satan probably has his hand on your shoulder like, you gonna be here for eternity, buddy. You have a lot of work to do.
He was often unfairly characterized as a warmonger. I've heard that false criticism a lot. It's not true. The truth was the opposite.
Trump didn't let that lie live for the rest of the funeral.
Hawkish, I will tell you, he never saw a war that he didn't like. Only his true friends would understand that.
Stop lying at funerals. Everybody in that room knew he was a warmonger. But then I realized you was lying about everything. And the amount of dick sucking you was doing, Hannity? Jesus Christ. How was it living on your knees like that?
Lindsay, Mr. President, I would argue in my mind, probably has a heavenly version of Mar-a-Lago. It may even be a little bigger. He may have a little more gold in the Oval Office in his mansion in heaven. And I wouldn't be surprised if he added one big, beautiful ballroom and an arch somewhere on the property.
Ew, bro. Take it out your fucking mouth. And the audacity to say that heaven's gonna be Mar-a-Lago? The child pedophile that was kicking it with Epstein? If that's what heaven looked like, immediately, me and God gonna have a conversation. I say, hey, show me hell. I gotta make sure, because if these motherfuckers make it to heaven, hell must be I.
He loved you. He loved the state of Israel. He loved the people of Israel. Under your leadership, Israel has been one of America's most consistent and loyal allies. He was never shy to say it to the day he passed.
We know. That's why I was confused. Y'all buried him in the American flag. I thought it was going to be buried in the blue and white. During that time, Trump seen falling asleep, and then Netanyahu right here in the cut like peroxide with his ugly-ass wife. But that's where shit got interesting. Because, yeah, he was there at the funeral, but he was doing a lot more. First off, bro got a whole entire motorcade, then snuck through the side door. Then he's looking like he's giving direct orders to Henny Hegseth, Marco the Narco, and Howard Nutlick. Howard's like, I can't make it too obvious. Let me just get in ear's reach. There's not no regular conversation reminiscing about Lindsey. Fuck no. They talking about plans, execution, and look at Marco the Narco's like, hold on, let's who's in earshot? How many cameras are watching this shit? Just everything about this, Mephistophelian. I could feel the evil seeping through the fucking camera. These two dweebs talking. Zelensky, I'm telling you, something's going on here. Because obviously, he needs help with Russia. But Russia supposedly is backdooring with Iran. So he's trying to convince them, hey, help us out. Stop fucking with Putin because he wants to kill y'all too. And will that end up happening? I think so. Because like I said, he let Laura Loomer into his country and interview him. Something weird's going on.
You got this lunatic mayor in New York thinking you may get arrested if you go to New York, which will never happen.
First of all, I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you there when I go to the UN in September.
Say that shit with so much confidence, you would think he the president. I'll be there in New York. New Yorkers, yeah, I know what to do, son. I'm just saying, tomatoes, make them feel uncomfortable. No violence. I would never say violence because next thing you know, LJ, come with us. I'm not inciting nothing. But he needs to feel uncomfortable and not respected.
I'm going there. I'm going to speak the truth in front of this. You know, this just hate spewing elected official who's pitting one group of New Yorkers against the others. He's turning them against New York Jews. I mean, what are we, in the 1930s? What is this?
Lying in real time because he knows people that watch Hannity won't do any further research. But actually, among American Jews, Mamdani, more favorable than you genocidal maniac.
How'd that meeting go?
It was great. It was one of the best meetings that we've had. And I always hate to disappoint our would-be critics who are trying to find, cracks in our alliance. And what they find, like today, is a wall of granite.
That's where all the fun stops, because that is not a good sign. That means we are going to increase our war, increase soldiers, and increase boots on the ground in Iran, because most likely he pitched Pickaxe Mountain and a whole bunch of other bullshit that Trump will now follow in his footsteps and execute, which means we're cooked.
Because the president is so clear. I mean, we have a common commitment. We don't want to see this fanatic regime in Tehran have nuclear weapons.
I just wish y'all didn't have nuclear weapons and were able to lie about it after you stole it from us, because then you guys would actually have no fucking power and people could just go in there and fix the problem that you guys are causing. But unfortunately, that's not happening. But then we had Ted on his knees, Cruz, basically point out the hypocrisy of America live in action.
Mondami, you know who does own a pied-à-terre? That would be Comrade Mondami, who has a palatial estate in Uganda. But that's always the case. Fidel Castro was a billionaire. Putin is a billionaire. The leaders of communist regimes are always rich. They steal and rob from those they govern.
Hello, Exhibit A, dickhead.
What are you trying to say, bro?
Somebody that steals from their people. Crypto. He called it Trump coin. And then they had Melania coin. He's made over $1 billion. It's so funny to me that every other billionaire, oligarch, dictator, American billionaires, no. Everything's copacetic. Those are amazing people. We should give them some tax breaks. What the fuck are you talking about?
And alrighty. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this Pierce Morgan debate. And shout out to my man Sam. Sent a floating heart for 10 jewels. I appreciate the support, my man. And like I said, guys, if you want to show some support, you can also send in a gift. If you have any question, comments, jokes, or disagreements, hey, go ahead and send in a super chat. But all right, though, let's go ahead and get right into it.
Landed in a country where almost half of the people in a new poll think he should be arrested for war crimes. He came prepared with one of his dodgy dossiers, new satellite footage of nuclear facilities being rebuilt near Iran's Pickaxe Mountain. This time, Trump, well, he was having none of it.
Well, I don't need Bibi to tell me that. Bibi's telling me that because he wants me to stay involved.
I mean, thank you for saying the quiet part out loud, Trump, man. See, this is what I like about Trump. Like, he's accidentally honest. Like, you don't even expect it out of him, but all of a sudden you're listening to him, he just says the blunt truth. And you're just like, ain't no goddamn way. Like, if you were just doing this from day one, we wouldn't even be here. But yeah, that's what Bibi came for, to try to drag us back into Iran and try to say how we should commit to make sure that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon. Because, Bibi is saying, they're going for a nuclear weapon. They're probably like a week away, Trump. It's like, So, yes, Trump pretty much did just come out on Fox News and say, like, we know Bibi wants us to strike Pickaxe Mountain. They want us to stay involved. We understand. But the problem here is that the way BB frames, you know, like, or the way he fuses Israeli interest with U.S. interest is low-key brilliant. It kills me, but it is low-key brilliant because a lot of people fall for it. I mean, look, I know a lot of you don't fall for it, but you gotta understand, millions of people literally fall for the idea that the problems that they create are our problems as well, and that they're protecting us from the problems that they created. Like, literally, people believe that by it, hook, line, and sinker.
I don't necessarily. We have the finest because of Space Force. We have the greatest cameras in the world focused on. We know exactly what's going on. But no, I heard Bibi announce that. I said, why don't you just tell it to me? Why do you have to announce it to the world? I know exactly what's going on at Pickaxe. It's not a big problem.
Well, the Israeli Prime Minister is fighting for his political life. He needs to convince his own people that he's the only one who can keep Trump on side. Watch his response to how that's going and judge for yourself whether you believe him.
How'd that meeting go?
It was great. It was one of the best meetings that we've had. And I always hate to disappoint our would-be critics who are trying to find, cracks in our alliance. And what they find, like today, is a wall of granite, because the president is so clear. I mean, we have a common commitment. We don't want to see this fanatic regime in Tehran have nuclear weapons to threaten every American and to threaten the peace of the world.
Well, whatever your views on the Iran war, there is no...
I'll be real with you. They don't want Iran to have a weapon because it won't be able to destabilize Iran, and it'll have to leave it alone. And Iran will be able to exert power throughout the Middle East as well. But yeah, one of the main reasons why they don't want Iran to get a weapon is because it won't be able to overthrow the regime because it'd be too much of a risk. Just like how everybody wants Kim Jong-un out of power, but I mean, what, you're going to risk getting nuked just to take this man out of power? It ain't worth it. And that's what Iran is pretty much about to establish. What they're trying to establish. They're pretty much trying to establish an order in the Middle East where we will never fuck with them again because it's going to cost too much to us. And they're hoping that closing the strait and striking our allies, or being able to strike our allies, will be enough of a deterrent. Sadly, it is not. But them getting a nuke might just be, because I'm gonna be real with you, them getting a nuke, I mean, we just might commit with our own nuke. So let's just be honest on that one. But most likely, if they were to get a nuke and pop out of nowhere with a test, yeah, we would just pretty much leave them alone. And no, they're not gonna nuke Israel. No, they're not gonna nuke the United States. They said the same thing about North Korea. But look at you, you're still here.
Nobody less qualified on planet Earth to be talking about world peace. Iran fired missiles at a US base in Jordan overnight. The world awaits Trump's response to that. Peace no longer looks like an option. Well, joining us now to discuss all this is Jonathan Conricus, the senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, John Kiriakou, the former CIA officer and author of the new book, The Ultimate Guide to CIA Skills, Tactics and Techniques, Scott Horton, host of the Scott Horton Show, and Jim Hansen, the chief strategist, Middle East Forum. Well, welcome to all of you. Scott Horton, it looks pretty clear the longer this war goes on, but it's become the very thing that Donald Trump always said he hated most, which is a protracted war in the Middle East, costing a huge amount of money, costing American lives, and it seems to have no end in sight. Netanyahu's now in Washington, but Trump's rhetoric seems to suggest that the wool is being pulled off his eyes, if you like, in relation to the veracity of what Netanyahu's saying about the war and where it is and what can be achieved. Do you think we're heading inexorably to a moment where Trump parts company completely with the Israelis on this?
Oh, I wish. I hate to say, Pierce, that in that clip of Netanyahu that you played there, that might be the only thing he's ever said that I believe, that he and Trump are good friends and they get along just fine and they agree completely on what they're doing. And, Trump's very marginal complaints about the way that Netanyahu approaches public relations are essentially meaningless here. Netanyahu is a psychopath, but he ain't schizophrenic. He understands the facts of life just as well as Donald Trump does. As we can all read in the Wall Street Journal, it was the commander of CENTCOM and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that told Trump late last week, don't do this escalation, which he'd been planning, this major escalation. They told him, don't do it because we can't contain it. We're going to have more dead Americans. We they got more interceptors than we've got interceptors, Mr. President. So stop. And Netanyahu understands that exact same math.
Yeah, it's the numbers game that we're low-key losing on. And that's why, you know, Donald Trump has been lying to the public, pretty much trying to convince you that Iran was low on munitions. Why? Because he don't want to tell you the reality that, bro, Iran got more missiles than we got interceptors. That's one of the reasons why we have continuous ceasefires, because we're realizing, well, week by week, that we can't continue this. Like, people say, oh, it's going to be a forever war. And I'm just like, nigga, how? Our strategic reserves are low. Our munitions are low. Bro, we can't carry this war out for much longer. We're going to have to stop it eventually. Or just crash out with a nuke. But I mean, Lord knows that's like probably the last thing we're going to do. Is probably not at all.
As relayed to him by his American liaisons, including the president, that they have no options here. That's why they called it off over the weekend. That's why Trump called the war off back last April. And so the problem, the only real problem, is the politics of it. How does Trump back out of a war that he already lost and make it look somewhat okay and be forgiven? And I'm here to go back to endorse what Joe Kent said at the very beginning, which is just cut and run, just turn around and leave. We've got nothing to lose. And that shifts the entire burden of dealing with the rest of Eurasia onto Iran about how they're going to handle the Persian Gulf from now on. It really doesn't matter to the American people. It doesn't even really matter to the American empire.
I mean, that would be a good strategy. It's like, you know, Trump is going to get painted terribly as a loser, but it would save us. We turn around, we just go back, we go like, you know what, Iran, you got it, good bro. You got it. Look, we're not going to keep attacking you. We're just going to get down with the memorandum of understanding. But just know that Israel's going to try to attack you. Saudi Arabia might try to attack you because you're control of the strait. But you guys can just figure that out on your own. And, you know, bro, hit me up and, you know, when the winter's done. In the meantime, I'll be placing my bet on Kaushi.
Whether we lose dominance in that Gulf, the American empire was perfectly healthy before Jimmy Carter declared his doctrine in 1980. We'll be just fine without it now. But the problem is, if we want a comprehensive negotiated solution, that's just too many boxes that have to be checked. It can't be done. Trump is not willing to concede. Even after he signed that MOU, he's not willing to seal the deal and finish it because it's too much of a personal humiliation for him.
Bro, it's too much of an L, bro. Do you remember the first memorandum of understanding? We're supposed to drag Israel out of Lebanon. They're supposed to pretty much let Iran administer the strait, aka they're going to lead people through and start charging them. And then also the Gulf countries were going to give them $300 billion. We were going to give them $24 billion in unfrozen assets. It was a complete capitulation. I'll be real with you. If we let everything played out, I mean, it would have been in our best interest. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, he'd look like a loser. Yes, he would. It would look terrible, and he'd be known as a president who lost to Iran. That's not even a top 10. Well, it's not even that doesn't even have the top 10 military in the world. They're ranked number 16. Number 16, bro. Not even in the top 10 military. Lord knows they ain't in no top in the 5. Actually, you know what? We might actually have to rank them up, sadly. I mean, they 16. They was 16, but you know what? Might have to give, I don't know, like spot number, like, let's give them 7. Now they're the 7th strongest military in the world. Why? Because they're able to keep control of the strait, keep on attacking our bases, and maintain their regime, even though we're doing relentless bombing. Son of a bitch. Who'da knew? Except those before us that was telling us this was a bad idea.
His politics. So I agree with Joe Kent that the easier answer is to just forget it. Just say, you know what, forget that whole thing ever happened. That was the old me. This is the new me, and just go on. And honestly, what would it cost the American people to finally have peace?
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Conricus, you're shaking your head there. I got to say, I completely agree.
Well, I already know what they're going to say. Well, if you leave them alone, Iran's going to get a nuke, and then everybody's going to have to fear for their lives. And well, yeah. I'm like, okay, bro. Okay. But here's the thing, though. The aggression that you want on Iran is one of the reasons why Iran's at 60% enrichment. It's not like we just left Iran alone, and then one day they just decide to enrich 60%. I mean, this happened over time and over constant acts of aggression onto their country. Like, let's just keep it real here.
If I was advising Donald Trump right now, I would say from the American national interest, get the hell out of this before it gets immeasurably worse. That the problem, as it has been evident to everyone from the start of this, is that the Iranians very quickly worked out that all they've got to do is control the Strait of Hormuz and fire off missiles and rockets at their neighboring Gulf states, and they can hold the entire global energy market literally over a barrel. And they keep doing that with impunity. You know, I woke up this morning to Donald Trump saying,
and here's the crazy part. Everything that Pierce says is true, but and guess what? They're doing this without a nuke, guys. Without a nuke. Maybe to exert this much force on the Middle East, and they're doing this without a nuke. So it's almost just like, what are we fear-mongering about a nuke for when they're able to damn near destroy the global economy with just missiles and drones? Like, what are we doing? Oh my God, they might have a missile, bro. They can destroy our entire economy. They got the global economy by the fucking balls right now, and you're crying about them possibly getting a nuke? Like, I'm sorry, but you guys are kind of like, I ain't gonna lie, you're kind of missing the forest for the trees right now. It's like, do you understand that I'm be real with you, like our global economy, our currency all hinges on what's going on in the Middle East, in that nice little section of the earth that we keep fucking around in for some reason? You do understand this. I hope so. All right, though, let's get back to it.
And he's going to unleash fucking shit or hell or whatever it was, his normal, very inflammatory, abusive language. And it's like, well, the Iranians have been hearing this for 4 or 5 months. So what are you going to do?
Hey, and shout out to my man Noah for coming in on Venmo. He says, well, here we go. He said, this is why we need to lock BB and the rest of the crazies calling for the continuation of the war up and give them to the Iranians. I'm weak. Yep, go ahead. Give it to the Iranians. Be like, y'all got it, bro. Whatever y'all want to do, most likely is going to be that. But hey, it's out of our control, bro. Just get the warmongers out of here. Let them have it. But then also, I mean, hey, bro, if they crash us out into a ground war, I want all of you guys who support this war to go out there and make sure you go out there and fight in Iran. I'm sorry, but like, y'all got to do it. I don't think, like I said, we don't need a draft. We just need all those who support this war to go out there and fight. And there's millions of you, millions. So you know what? If all of you guys got up off your ass, went out there and go put the boots on the ground in Iran, we could possibly win this war, guys. But, you know, a whole bunch of you are going to die. But, hey, we win the war. This is what you always wanted, right? Right. I hope that's what you always wanted, because hopefully you'll commit to it. But most likely not. You'll most likely be a keyboard warrior and sit there like a coward and cheerlead a war that you're not going to die in. But other people will die in, you know, people's family members, moms, dads, kids. I mean, you've seen like a whole bunch of them on the news, but that ain't shake it, though. So hopefully you're ready to put your boots on the ground, man, and make that ultimate sacrifice like they did. But all right, though.
Right? You keep threatening to annihilate them one day, deal with them the next. There's this daily ridiculous dialogue almost with himself. And I know Trump well, and I'm seeing a guy who wants to get out of this desperately, can't work out a way to do it that saves face. And actually, Scott's right. Don't worry about saving face. Just get the hell out of it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously, not surprisingly, my thoughts differ. I think that it would be very damaging for American standing. I think it would be damaging for what was referenced as the American empire. I think that weakness in one area is quickly seen and understood by enemies all around the world. And if you're weak in one area, you are deemed to be weak in another area as well. And I know this from the local micro environment of the Middle East, where we fight various enemies. If we are perceived as weak by one of our enemies, then the others will perceive us as weak as well, even if we aren't. The test case of Hamas versus Hezbollah, we were weak and unprepared to fight. And, we had these whole paradigms of thought that were very defeatist and sounded very similar to the point that were made just a few minutes ago. And the enemies heard that, saw that, took notice, and they used it against us. And then the other enemies thought that, well, maybe we'll have a go at Israel as well.
Bro, I'm sorry, but if they were reporting how much Hamas soldiers has died and Hamas is on their last 1,000 soldiers, nobody would really be like, criticizing you that much. If we was to have a minimum of, I don't know, let me be generous, and it sounds fucked up, but maybe like 10,000 civilian casualties, and you killed all of Hamas, I could possibly look past that. But Hamas is still around, and we got mainly civilians killed, like 70,000, much more than that, sadly. Yeah, I can't look past that, sadly. I'm sorry, but yeah, y'all blew that. Yeah, y'all blew it. And y'all still fight Hamas now, and more Palestinians are dying. Why y'all still fighting Hamas who y'all not removed yet? So, I mean, have y'all really won against Hamas? When they're still there, you're still doing constant bombing in Israel while also putting ground troops in Lebanon to fight Hezbollah. Y'all ain't doing so well there either. I don't know, Israel, if you're the best example, honestly.
Well, and Hezbollah went, and the Iranians went, and many others. The point here is that, yes, of course, wars are horrible. People die in wars. I have fought. I don't know who else on the panel has been in uniform and put themselves in harm's way, but I have fought for my country, and Israelis continue to fight for their country, not asking anybody to fight for us, unlike many other American allies who ask for Americans to be deployed in their.
I mean, did you make your own missiles? Did you get your own $3 billion to start buying American weapons? No, you did not. No, we gave it to you. And we also gave you missiles, and we gave you money so you guys can carry out your genocide in Gaza. So no. Let's not pretend you could have did this on your own. Actually, you didn't even make your own goddamn jets. You got them from us. You have air superiority in the Middle East because of us. Like, don't ever forget that, Israel. You're only like this because of us. The only reason why BB ain't get locked up by the ICC is because of us. I mean, the only reason why you're even able to do half the atrocities you guys do is literally because, actually, all of them is because of us. And that's nothing to be proud of, by the way. That's nothing to be proud of. But God damn it, though, you got to show some respect on that.
Countries, we don't.
As we push to discontinue the funding, though. It's like, still, even if you do appreciate it, we're still going to discontinue the funding. Like, that's what we're going to push for still.
And with the current situation here, I think that it would be actually humiliating for the US to do such a childish and immature and, Barbie-like kind of thing, to say, well, enough, and I'm just going home. Let's forget about it. Have you ever heard of a leader say such a thing without thinking about the serious long-term consequences for the projection of force, deterrence?
Yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson did it with Vietnam. What are you talking about? Yeah. We seen that. Damn, we can't air bomb these guys to death, bro. We use chemical weapons, napalm on these guys, and they were still fighting, ready to die for Vietnam, not wanting to surrender whatsoever. We killed their goddamn leader, just like we did with Iran, and they were still fighting, just like with Iran. So guess what? It's like the Lyndon B. Johnson moment with Trump right now, which is tough. Because Lyndon B. Johnson stopped caring about the troops and start caring more about it as well, his image as a president, his ego. And I mean, it's all bad when a leader starts caring more about his ego or more about his image than the actual lives of his citizens. We're in a real fucked up position if that's the case.
Think what will the Chinese say? Well, of course, the Chinese will have levers of influence over the US as well, whether it's energy, chips, manufacturing, rare earth minerals, and many other things. It'll hurt to confront the Chinese as well. It'll hurt to confront the Russians as well. So what? If you believe in something, if you listen to your enemy and the Iranian...
Okay, you know what? This what kills me, yo. This attitude is crazy. I could stand there and say the same thing to you. All right, if that's what you truly believe in, why didn't you go attack Iran by yourself? Why you been trying to drag us into it? No, dead ass. What was the point of dragging us into it if this is something like, as you're saying, hey, if you really believe in the cause and you really gotta go out there and get it. It don't matter what the consequences is. Great, Israel. Put your money where your mouth is. You should attack Iran on your own, and you should have brought on the forces of their proxies on your own. We should have just sat there and wish you good luck from the side. Because why? Hey, you believe in it, bro. You understand the cause. You got to fight the Islamists, and you're going to do it no matter what the cost. Yeah, please let that out. Let's see you commit to that.
Regime is an enemy of the United States of America. They would happily kill every American.
What's your strategy for victory?
They would happily kill you as well if they had the opportunity to.
What is your strategy for victory?
My strategy.
His strategy for victory is crash the fuck out, no matter the consequence. That's his strategy for victory. It's kind of crazy, really.
That's a
as an
very
Israeli
important
is-
question, Jonathan. No.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
No,
what it is.
didn't y'all hear it?
What?
No, didn't y'all hear it? He literally said, bro, just crash the hell out no matter the consequences. Who cares if you lose 10, 20,000 soldiers? Iran's no longer in power. Isn't that good? 20,000 grays, maybe 40,000. But hey, though, we beat Iran, right? I mean, we're still going to get the same type of somber victory that we took after World War II. Hey, guys, we're world power now. Just hundreds of thousands of Americans are dead. But hey, though, we're a dominant power in the world, right, guys? That's great. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it was really worth the lives, but some people actually think it is, like him.
What's his victory? Because if victory is supposedly preventing Iran from developing a nuclear weapon,
No,
I
it
would
isn't.
say it is far
It
more
isn't.
likely.
It
Well,
isn't.
hang on. Well,
That isn't
that's what
victory.
Donald Trump has said. That's what Donald Trump has said. Right? So
Yeah.
let me just
What
remind you
I
what the
see
President
as
of the United
victory-
States has said is the stated mission. Right? Is
Yeah, I
to
mean, that
stop
would
them
be
developing a
a-
weapon. Now, hang on, Jonathan. Hang on. Last time I checked, they still have control of all their enriched uranium.
Yep.
They are, if we are to believe that just 8 months after the 12-day war, where we supposedly put them back decades in their nuclear program, they were 2 weeks away from developing one and potentially using it immediately, then presumably that threat still applies. Now you've got the Americans saying to the Saudi Arabians, you can have a nuclear weapon if you join the Abraham Accords. If you're Iran,
No, you can have enrichment.
what is stopping
not
you
weapons.
now?
Energy.
No.
Well,
Nuclear
okay,
energy
it's
and
the same
enrichment,
argument.
not
It's the
weapons.
same. It's the same argument about Iran. Iran says that's what they want the enriched uranium for.
It isn't.
And you
Piers.
guys have
Come on, be
perceived that to
serious.
mean
You can't compare the Saudis to the
it is.
Iranian regime.
It is.
No, it isn't.
It is the
It
same
isn't.
argument.
Let's be
And if-
serious.
my point is
No,
this.
let's be serious.
My point
You
is
cannot
this,
compare
Jonathan.
them.
My point is that. Wait a minute. Let me make my point. My point is, if you're the Iranian regime and you see all this going on, and you know that 4.5 months into this war, you still have the regime intact. The Ayatollah has been replaced by his son. The IRGC are in full control. Your people aren't rising up, and you control the Strait of Hormuz, and you're causing devastating damage to the neighboring Gulf states by firing off missiles directly impacting their business model going forward. If you're aware of all these facts and you've got all your enriched uranium, and the President of the United States is saying to the Saudi Arabians, you can basically have what the Iranians have, why on earth would you have any incentive to end this?
So I'll briefly just say this. The Iranian.
No, literally though, it's like while you're gaining more and more influence in the Middle East, you could now control a major trade route that nobody can beat your ass off of. Sadly, yeah. I mean, why would you stop? I mean, why wouldn't you keep going until you have solidified your control over that strait? And that's what I think Iran is going for at this point. They're trying to solidify control and dominance over the entire region. And I mean, if they do that, it ain't going to be too long until they break out to a nuclear weapon. And of course, not to attack, Israel or the United States, but to just make sure that nobody ever messes with them again, get the North Korea treatment. Oh, yeah, my bad, yo. Shout out to my man Noah, though. Shout out to Noah Joyner. You did send in a Venmo, and I forgot to give you a celebration. And guys, you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? You can go ahead and send in a super chat or a Venmo, guys. Appreciate the support. Make sure you double tap that screen and like the video and subscribe to the channel as well, especially if you've been watching for a while at this point. But all right, though, let's get right back into it. And like I said, make sure to super chat in any disagreement or question or comment. But all right, though. Shout out to Pierce. Let's get into it.
There's a 90% inflation in Iran. Their currency is plummeting. They don't have money. There's growing unrest on Iranian streets, which isn't reported in Western media because they don't allow.
I'm weak. It's just like, first off, no, dog. There is no protests in the street going against the regime. Like the Iranian regime will not fall any day now. It's like, I'm sorry, but none of this is happening. Or that's all the fantasy land that you guys are living in because you can't really deal with the results of this war. And trust me, especially Israel, they're about to play delusional for a minute. It's like you guys dragged us into a war that literally only made Iran stronger. And your whole intention was to weaken Iran, but really you strengthened their position in the region that y'all live in. Hey, yo, karma's a bitch. God damn.
To be reported, and the only thing that I think should have been done better by the president in the management of this war isn't the fact that he launched the war together. I think that is exactly what the president of the United States should have done. The only thing that I regret is that he had very odd bedfellows, whether it's Turkey, Qatar, or Pakistan, that I think have given him very poor advice. And that is a shame, because if he hadn't called off various plans
that is wild. He basically saying, so yeah, all these Gulf countries that's getting attacked, unlike Israel right now, but no, it's the Gulf countries' fault for getting that's getting attacked. It's their fault for what a reason why Trump came to a ceasefire. And he's not actually wrong though, because it was the Gulf countries pretty much beating down Trump's door, going like, yo, you need to stop this. Like, dog, we can't get our oil out the Strait. It's hurting our economy. They're attacking us. It's killing our tourist economy as well. Like, the tourist industry is low-key cooking these countries at this point, because who want to sit there in their high-rise hotel having to worry about an Iranian drone? Like, who want to deal with that? So, yes, they're pretty much banging on Trump's door going like, yo, you got to come to a ceasefire with Iran. Bro, we don't care if we got to pay $300 billion to these guys. Just make it stop. Because they realize that this war is being carried on the backs of them and their infrastructure. Because if Iran starts taking out water salination centers and energy plants, those now become unlivable places. Now, sadly, if you take out Iran's, well, actually, luckily for them, if you take out Iran's water salination plant, they still got water because they only get about 5 to 7% from there. But the rest of the Gulf countries, you take out their water salination plants, they are no longer livable places. Let's just keep it real.
Were in motion, then I think we could have been in a different situation. If we'd listened to other countries like the Emirates, like Israel, like Jordan, like other countries, and not to basically Muslim Brotherhood.
I'm not hearing anything about what to do
Qatar
about Iran
and Turkey. Then I think the situation could have been much better, and the situation would have been much better, and the Iranian regime would have been brought to their knees. And finally,
this
about
is so much hot air. Why don't you
not
say
at all, sir.
how
Not
we're
at
going
all.
to
What I'm
open that
saying
strait
is
with
not at
force
all,
without
sir.
losing our ships
What
to the
I'm
bottom of the
saying
Gulf?
What I'm saying
All right,
is that victory against the
Scott
Iranian
Horton wants some
regime.
strategy. All right, let's get to it. I've got a strategy. All right, you want a strategy?
Okay, great.
We're done. We tried negotiation. President Trump did the right thing. The right thing was try to find a way to end this with the least amount of kinetic energy and damage that you could put forth. Okay, it didn't work. The enemy gets a vote. They figured out that their asymmetric threats to both the Strait of Hormuz and now the Bab el-Mandeb are enough to shut down the global economy and oil in a way that we could not sustain. And for a short time, they could. So now he has to deal with both U.S. elections and what happens next. But the real problem is the Islamic Republic of Iran. And it's time to quit tap dancing around the fact that it is well past its expiration date. And it's time to tell the world they need to move on. The Iranian people and the rest of the world deserve something better. So what we need is Operation Epic Finale. And we need to do it like the end of that fireworks display on the 4th of July here in D.C., where we barraged everything, kill as many of the IRGC leaders, because they're the problem, as you can, and CIA and Mossad know where a lot of them are, crush them hard immediately, and then say, we're going to take a break until the U.S. midterms are over. You can get your stuff together and surrender, after the mid.
Bro, you delusional? Nah, that's low-key funny. He just said that shit. He just says, you know what? We're going to attack them and hit them as hard as possible. And in his fantasy world, he's like, then they're not going to want to attack us. And we're going to tell them to wait till midterms while we get our shit together. Bro, are you insane? In what world do we hit them that hard and they don't retaliate? Are you serious? Like Epic Fury, we was hitting them hard and they retaliated every time. We're hitting them hard now and they're still retaliating. So what makes you think that if we commit to this all-out barrage on Iran that they won't still retaliate? And then what makes you think that even after we commit to this all-out barrage, they'll just be so fear-strucken that they just, will bend their knees and they'll be like, please, America, please, we need to ceasefire, please. And no, bro, only in the fantasy land that you're living in right now would that happen. That's why everybody on the screen looking at this man like he crazy.
Terms, we move into a phase where we start degrading them and creating the conditions inside Iran for the people of Iran to choose their own government, call for a national referendum. where international observers come in and let the people decide whether they want to continue this revolution that has caused nothing but death and destruction for them for all these years, and replace that with something that turns them back into a prosperous and decent.
Was it the IRGC that forced the Iranian people into a war that cost them over 500,000 people? Or was it the fact that that we backed Saddam Hussein to fight the Iranians, along with the Gulf countries, that cost them 500,000 people? I mean, is it the IRGC's fault why their economy is bad, or is it the fact that we put sanctions on them and we use Scott Bessent to pretty much destroy their currency? It's like the Iranian people aren't dumb. They know most of their suffering is coming from our interference. Now, I ain't saying that the IRGC ain't tripping in the streets, low key, like, well, keeping up Islamic law. I mean, that's the way they frame it. But yeah, we're not going to pretend like they don't do their atrocities either. But the Iranian people are not stupid. They know what we've done. This is why they're all in. This is why they're rallying around the flag against the United States. And sadly, they're not going to go against the people that's keeping the United States from bombing the shit out of them and destroying their country. Like, they're just not going to do it.
Nation and member of the community of nations. That's a
with
plan.
All due respect, I don't know you. With all due respect, sir, isn't that exactly how this war started? By killing all the IRGC, killing the Ayatollah, telling the people to rise up.
And we said,
and that's what I'm saying. That's like, bro, shout out to Scott Horton, because it's just like, dog, we already did that. That's a funny thing with all these war hawks. They just recycled old, terrible ideas. They have nothing new. They just got old, terrible ideas that they're just insane enough to think that will work if they just try hard enough. It's like, yeah, bro, we already went in and destroyed an entire succession of leadership, and they replaced it. And if we do it again, you know what they're going to do? Replace it. I mean, bro, if we took out the Ayatollah right now, do you know who's going to be the Ayatollah? Bro, the original one, Khomeini's son, is going to be the new Ayatollah if we take out the Khomeini's son right now. So we're just going to get a more radical guy every time we kill him. So do you understand that? Like, guys, we took out all the moderates. That's one of the main reasons why we really can't get a good deal with these guys, especially when it comes to getting a memorandum of understanding.
We're not doing regime change. We're going to negotiate. No, the difference is you call an end to any of this. We can make a deal with an apocalyptic death cult that believes they need an Armageddon-like event to bring the return of the 13th.
But that's what you're saying is to make 13th. Bro, what are you talking about? That's not their. All right, guys. So what he's talking about is the eschatology of Muslims, right? Well, Muslims and Shia Muslims. I mean, or Shia or Sunni Muslims. I'm not really sure what he's talking about. If I was asking him, I'd be like, bro, all right. What are you talking about? That's not the eschatology of Muslims. Like, neither one, Shia or Sunni, actually believes that, oh no, they're gonna kill a whole bunch of people, take over the world to bring back the 12th Imam and all that. No, actually, Muslims' eschatology is actually the same as Christians, ironically, that Jesus will come back to fight the evil, and then everybody will prosper on earth. All right. So yes, they pretty much got revelations going on. Yeah, and you can look this up. Muslim eschatology is pretty much the same as Christian eschatology. Jesus comes back, fights evil, beats it, then everybody lives good, and it's all peace on earth. That's literally their end of the world scenario. Same as the Christians. So what are you talking about? And there's no way to substantiate that because it's just propaganda. That's a lie. But a lot of people don't know that.
We can make a deal with an apocalyptic death cult that believes they need an Armageddon-like event to bring the return of the 13th.
But that's what you're saying is to make them surrender through power, right?
No, I'm saying make them surrender, beat them down as far as we can, then take a break, then bring back the blockade, bring back international pressure.
Jim, all due respect, Jim, here's the problem. Jim, hang on, guys. Jim, hang on, Scott. Jim, all due respect, this is exactly what's been going on for the last 4.5 months. I mean, let me bring in John Kiriakou. Welcome back to Uncensored. But it seems to me the Americans and Israelis through the kitchen sink at trying to blow up the IRGC and the Iranian leadership. Then they try to blockade, and they've done all these things. None of it's worked. And guess what? You can't deal with the Iranians. Well, I could have told them that before they started. The great big elephant in the room here turned out, well, you have to deal with them. Yeah. Obama, over 2 years.
I'm be real with you. You kind of put us in, due to this war, you put us in a position where we got to deal with them. It's like, I know a lot of people want to sit there like, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Sorry, bro, but we got to negotiate with the terrorists if we actually want to have a good conclusion, or a conclusion that doesn't end with our economic doom. Okay. So yes, we got to negotiate with the terrorists. You're going to have to get over that, because guess what? It's the support of this war and the continuation of this war that put us in the position that we're in right now, in a bad position, in a losing one that we're desperately trying to fight ourselves out of, but it doesn't seem like we have a way out, sadly.
Years got a deal that the Republicans condemned as terrible, but actually has turned out to be probably better at the moment than any of the deals that Trump's put in front of the Iranians. So we are back, further back than we were before a deal that was at least ostensibly holding in place in some form with a very dangerous, horrible regime. I don't dispute that for a minute. But John Kiriakou, you know, my problem with this is, and again, full respect to Jim, and I love having him on the show, as I do all my guests. But the bottom line is, Americans have tried everything here.
Oh yeah, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel while you're at it as well. If you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, guys, make sure to send it in a super chat or a Venmo, guys. Appreciate the support. Or if you just want to support the channel, guys, you can go ahead and send a gift as well. All right, let's go ahead and get right back into it.
And none of it's worked. And last time I looked, the Americans have a missile problem, right? They're running out of defensive missiles against the Iranian ballistic missiles. I was told on very good authority last week that the Iranians still have at least 50% of their ballistic missile capability left, and they're regenerating as they go. I was told this by somebody who would know. The Americans clearly have a defensive missile issue, and the neighboring Gulf states, some of them are in big trouble. You look at the smaller ones like Kuwait and Bahrain and others, they are getting really, really jittery about what may happen in those smaller states. Fair. And I don't blame them. So my argument, John, is I've heard all this rhetoric. None of it's worked.
No, none of this works. And this is an ongoing problem that we've seen stretch over the course of decades. I saw it at the CIA. It's easy to invade a country. It's easy to kill the leadership. But it's almost impossible to come up with an exit strategy that works. Yeah. And we never think these things through. There's never an exit strategy. We always think that we're going to be greeted as liberators, and we're never greeted as liberators. We're greeted as invaders and occupiers. If there's one
and it's kind of crazy how people fell for it again. It's like, so y'all literally fell for the, oh no, we're going to go liberate the Iranians, guys. We're going to liberate them. It's like, bro, that was the same thing they said about Iraq. Same thing. We're going to liberate them from Saddam, the evil dictator, guys. We're going to liberate them. Yeah, same people that we were coming to liberate start fighting against us. Isn't that crazy? But for some reason, we think we're going to pop that same, crazy. For some reason, we think we're going to try to do the same thing in the same region and expect it to turn out different. And isn't that crazy how they trick you guys all every time into thinking that, oh, no, we're saving the people that we're actually bombing as well and trying to threaten to cut off their bridges and their electricity and their water. But we're saving them, guys. I'm like, all right, you got it.
Thing that this war has done in a very short period of time, it has united Iranians inside the country against the United States, Israel, and the Gulf countries.
No, it hasn't.
The Iranians have
you
to do
don't
to win
know
this.
that, and it hasn't.
That's it. That's all they have to
you
do.
don't
to
know
win.
that, and it hasn't. And you can look at the amount of executions by the Iranian regime, including yesterday and the day before yesterday, public hangings. You can see how united they are.
Sources.
The only thing that they are united against is against the horrible regime that oppresses them. And
no, they're actually not. Actually, they're actually supporting the regime now. I mean, did you not see the funeral where over 1 million Iranians pulled up just to mourn the Ayatollah? Yeah, that's a whole lot of support. And also is like, guys, I'm sorry, but you guys need to understand something here. Iran actually has way more, the IRGC, the Ayatollah has way more support than people are willing to admit here. Because first off, and this is how you understand this, guys. Let's go ahead and take another look at the 2024 Iranian presidential election so we can understand. This is why Iran cannot be regime changed right now, at least. Right now, for now. Why? Because In the 2024 Iranian presidential election, which they control, they choose the candidate. So no candidate don't get chosen by the people. No, they get chosen by the Ayatollah and the religious clerics that pretty much run the country and that create the law and all that good stuff and that run the military. Yes, they choose the candidates for who can be president. So now, if there was no support of the IRGC, then you would see like a low, voter turnout. You would see low registration, because why would you register to vote in an election that's controlled by a regime that you hate? Right? Okay, then. I know that makes perfect sense. Well, here it is right here. 61.4 million Iranians registered to vote in the 2024 Iranian elections. 61.4 million. Yeah. They're registering to vote in an election controlled by a regime that they hate. I mean, that don't make no sense. Why would you participate in an election with a regime that you hate? I mean, like, it sounds like you believe in the regime if you're willing to register to vote. I mean, shoot, people that's against our government so vociferously, they don't vote. I mean, shoot, they strong to their word. So, if there's so many people that's against Iran, I mean, you would think their voter registration would be about like 30,000, 20,000 in a country of 93 million people. If we're talking about there's no support for the regime. But instead, we're looking at a 61.4 million with a voter turnout of about 50%. And of course, this is the current president right now, which is the reformist. This is the liberal and this is the conservative. This is basically just consider this the reformists or your libs, and consider this your right-wing conservative there in Iran, or your really like IRGC guys. These are your hardliners. Now, luckily, the reformists won. So luckily, the liberal won. So you kind of do see Iran going in a more liberal direction and reformist direction with their politics. But remember, these guys voted for Pezeshkian because he was chosen by the Iranian government, by the religious clerics. He got the okay from these guys, and 16 million Iranians came out and voted for him. 13 million went in for the other guy, which is the principalists, aka the hardliners in Iran. Which, I mean, it kind of tells you this right here. The principalists are interchangeably known as the Iranian hardliners, Iranian conservatives, and formally referred to as the right or right wing. Yeah. But this is one of the main reasons why, regime change, not right now. I mean, do you see the voter turnout right here, guys? That's not happening. Like, they still got millions upon millions of supporters here. And I know you want to sit there and bring up a study of, what did they do? They polled 500,000 Iranians, and I think that represents, the statistic there better than your 61.4 million set. And I'm like, and to that, my friend, God bless your heart. God bless your heart. You got it, sir. You got it. All right, though, let's go ahead and get right back to the video. Now that I felt like I over-explained that, but thank you for still tuning in there and hanging in. All right, let's go.
The fact that you are doing their work and strengthening the propaganda.
So Jonathan, if that's the case, Jonathan, hang on. Jonathan, if that's the case, why is it that Israel has never been more unpopular, particularly in America, where 2/3 of Americans now have a negative view of Israel? 50% of Americans nearly want Netanyahu arrested on American soil. So you can talk about the Iranians and how everyone's united against them and so on. Actually, what is happening, and I say this as somebody who likes Israel, likes Israelis, hates to see this happening, but your country is becoming increasingly a global pariah because of the actions of its government, that government is being driven by absolute psychopaths like Ben Gvir and Smodrich. And the more those guys do, and the appalling scenes we're seeing on the West Bank, for example, appalling scene.
Nah, guys, the cope is real. The cope is real, though. Is like, actually, I did mention the turnout. I showed the turnout numbers right there. I even mentioned that it had a 50% turnout. But once again, you couldn't even you couldn't even satisfy the argument of, well, think about it. They have no support. And let's be real. The Iranians hate the IRGC so much. They hate the Ayatollah so much. They hate this regime so much. Then why are they registering to vote in an election that they control? You got to make that make sense. And if you can't, then you're just salty about the facts. And that's fine. But, I mean, you ain't really saying anything. You're just making yourself look stupid.
Right, which you should be the first to condemn. And I've always thought you try and be fair-minded when it's deserved the criticism. So here's your chance to be fair-minded. Are you happy with what's happening in the West Bank?
Let's first address what you said first about, the Israel standing in the world, which brings me great sadness. As someone who has been in media for a while, not as long as you and maybe some of the other panelists, but I can smell an influence operation a mile away. And what I give credit to is our enemies, the Palestinian Authority, and a few others, Qatar, lots of Qatari money, Russians, and Iran, for a very successful information campaign against Israel. They have been more successful information-wise than what we have been on the battlefield. And we have taken out Hezbollah, we've taken out Hamas, we have dealt significant blows to the Iranian regime. We have. I didn't interrupt you. We have taken out significant parts of our enemies on the ground. But unfortunately, what the Jewish state faces is unprecedented, unequal. It is unique in the world. The amount of attention, scrutiny, and double standards that are faced against Israel.
Yeah, but Jonathan. What Israel, the Jewish state as you call it, what Israel through its action, through its government's actions, and I say that very precisely, through this current government's actions, it is that's made Israel an increasing pariah.
No,
not
it
the way
isn't.
The media.
No, it isn't.
I don't get told. Well, how is somebody like me, for example, who for many months after October the 7th ran into all sorts of abuse from the pro-Palestinian side because I defended Israel's right to defend itself. But I kept asking as I did that, what is a proportionate response? And you lost me.
But bro, no, literally though. It's like, that's the one thing that Pierce was asking. Like, all right, look, and me too. I actually had the same opinion as Pierce. Like, yeah, they have a right to defend themselves and that's fine and all. But like proportionality, my dog, like how far is this going? And the further and further it went, the more and more Israel started to lose me. And I'm just like, damn, all right, then they actually did what most people say they were going to do. They were pretty much going to ethnically cleanse or try to genocide the Palestinians. And here's the thing. I thought it was just a couple, radicals in their government and radicals in their media. But no, this is actually what they were committing to, sadly. I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, guys, let's just keep it real, though. What Israel did after October 7th, I mean, look, it's all good. They can defend themselves. But massacring the Palestinians, yeah, bro, you lost a lot of people with that one. And then because you brought such attention to the Palestinians, people start looking up the history and they start noticing like, hold on, there's a whole lot of terrorists and colonialism going on here with Israel. And it's, very anti-American. So, we don't like that. Well, anti-American value. I mean, let's be real. If you ask our military, man, we all about that. Sadly. But not the people, though, but the government.
And when the response reached nearly 80,000 deaths in Gaza, then we saw the attacks on southern Lebanon, on Iran, on this and that. You're in perpetual state of warfare, and the rest of the world's watching this going, you keep saying you're the victims here, but you keep attacking places and killing endless civilians. And you keep saying, well, we don't mean to. We're only after the bad guys.
Nah, really, though. It's like when you bring up the facts of Lebanon to a Zionist, like, so, you guys started that war in Lebanon. You attack Hezbollah first, then you claim to be the victims. But you guys displaced 1.2 million Lebanese people, destroyed entire villages, and you killed over 4,000 Lebanese. Like, and then you want to tell the Lebanese people to disarm Hezbollah, but you're the ones who displacing Lebanese people. You're the ones who's killing them, but they should disarm Hezbollah, the guys that are fighting you guys off. I mean, do y'all hear yourselves?
But in the process of killing the bad guys, you are killing tens and tens of thousands of innocent people, and the rest of the world's watching this going, enough. Now, Jonathan, that is not PR. No one's paying me to say this. It is what I'm seeing with my own eyes.
Okay, after that, give me a chance to respond to that, because you really laid out so many things that are, at least that have, 2 sentences to speak about it. I suggest that you read the Substack of a British former army officer called Andrew Fox. I know he's maybe been on the show once and been in touch with the show. He just wrote a piece about the whole genocide libel falling to pieces, and he took each and every one of the components of the lies against Israel, specifically regarding Gaza.
I would have to ask him, like, yeah, he's a what? Oh, a journalist? Well, I'm sorry, bro, but we have what? An International Association of Genocide Scholars that 86% of them are pretty much saying that what Israel's doing in Gaza constitute as a genocide. So, I mean, I think I'm going to go with the genocidal scholars that have been studying this for, longer than most of us have been alive. Let's go with these guys. And, it's funny. Some of them are Jewish too. Yeah. Yes. Jewish genocide scholars agree that Israel's committing a genocide in Gaza. So when you say it's not a genocide, well, who the fuck are you? Give me those credentials, please, and thank you.
I won't go into all of the details, but I suggest that you read it and that you inform yourself. And if you ask, how have you fallen? Because you have also been influenced by this massive media operation against Israel. It is a media operation that I think no other country has faced.
If you want me to be better informed, if you want me to be better hang on, Jonathan. If you want me to, hang on, Scott. If you want me to be better informed, Jonathan, then let the international journalists into Gaza to do their job and find out for themselves. Let them do it. There's a reason Netanyahu doesn't want it to happen and is prohibiting journalists from going in there.
There's lots of
embedded with the
reporting
IDF
from
and a friendly
Gaza.
like Andrew
There's
Fox.
lots of reporting
and
from Gaza.
there is no independent free reporting in Gaza.
Yes,
no,
there is.
Zero.
Yes,
Nada.
there is.
You banned
Yes,
all
there is.
international media.
Bro, the only people y'all letting in there is Fox News and your own media. That's it. It's Israeli media and Fox News, which might as well be Israeli media. So we really don't got no free press in there. It's only the press that you guys know that's going to paint you in a favorable light. That's it. Like, bro, y'all literally controlling speech here.
Yeah. Reuters.
But we have democratic values, though. Okay.
Which journalists got in freely without IDF
CNN,
embedment?
Washington Post and AFP all have correspondents on the ground reporting from Gaza. Yes, check their bylines.
Operating freely.
All of these are reporting from Gaza daily. And they have been reporting since October 7. What you say is factually incorrect.
So there is no ban, just to be clear. Wow, hang on. You yourself, in previous interviews on this show, have admitted there is a ban on international media and it should be stopped.
I have said that there haven't been international correspondents.
Since October the 7th, they've all been there. Which one is it?
I'll tell you very clearly. CNN, New York.
The Hezbollah gets confusing to keep up. It just gets a little bit too confusing. And if the word Hezbollah is confusing you, it's just Israeli propaganda.
Times, Washington Post, AP, and AFP, and Reuters all have staff on the ground, and they have been reporting. Gazan reporters who work for those agencies, and of course Al Jazeera as well. I forgot the Qatari.
Actually, let me go ahead and explain to you Hezbollah, because I use it a lot. I'm pretty sure I'll lose a lot of people. Like, what does that even mean? But Hezbollah is Hebrew for explanation, and it's Israel's state-backed public diplomacy, strategic communication, and public relation effort designed to influence global perception, explain government and military action, and build international support. So when I say that, some of y'all be spitting that Hezbollah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you've been fooled. This is the Israeli propaganda to make you an apologist for what? Israel's influence, global perception. And you sit there and explain their government and military actions, and you say, oh, no, we should help Israel build international support. Through what? Getting Saudi Arabia into Abraham Accords, which would get their ass killed. That's what I'm saying. Y'all be spitting that Hezbollah. And now you know. All right, guys, but make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. But all right, let's go ahead and get back to it. Man. Oh, and any question, comment, jokes, disagreements, make sure to super chat it in, or if you just want to support, you can go ahead and send a gift as well.
Just to be clear,
Machine, but what
just to be
hasn't been
clear,
allowed?
I thought Sorry, I thought that the narrative coming out of Gaza with Gazan journalists was they were all pro-Hamas. That's why 200 plus have been killed, and they're all pro-Hamas. Therefore, they're not actual journalists. Now your position is that the Gazan journalists are free, independent journalists and not Hamas. Is that your position? And secondly,
No,
there
it
remains
isn't.
in place, as you know, Jonathan, a ban on all international media going into Gaza.
Because we've
Non-Gazan
discussed
journalists
it before.
from outside going in to do their job. So when you say to me, I should be better informed, I would love to be better informed. Let the journalists go in and do their job.
Let me inform you.
The
You said
international
about
media.
journalists. 267 journalists, according to international NGOs, have been reported killed, cited by various organizations that they were only journalists. Out of those, more than 125 have already been recognized by Hamas and the Islamic Jihad as their own fighters. Now, where's the reporting on that? Where's the outrage of media organizations?
Because it's not real. You guys are just lying to cover up the death of pretty much you're lying to pretty much cover up the death of these reporters. Hamas does not claim any of these reporters at all. These reporters would hang close to Hamas, pretty much try to get some, do some on the ground journaling. Like we got Americans pretty much doing some journalist work with the Russian army. Yes, they're out there moving with the Russian army right now. So guess what? That means we can go in Gaza and we can start chilling with Hamas just to get a story, just like, Americans are going to Russia just to get and chill with their army to get a story. So we should do the same thing in Israel if we're able to get it off in Russia, because you guys are our greatest ally, apparently. Not Russia, but we're able to do it with them and be safe. But not with you guys. Insane.
People
Where's
like
the
you.
reporting on that?
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. It's not real. It's like, bro, it's literally Israel says that these reporters were part of Hamas. But then he's going to lie and say, actually, no, Hamas claimed there was reporters. No, they didn't. You guys said that Hamas claimed those reporters with no evidence there at all. Hamas haven't claimed those reporters either. Like, are you serious? But, hey, man, he's spitting at his bar hard right now. He got it.
Where is the reporting on that? It's in the same.
Let the journalists in and they'll do the
Let me give you a
reporting.
little information.
Right now,
About was there a genocide
to Gaza, talking about the voluntary emigration of the entire population of the Gaza Strip. That's the genocide. The guy sitting here denying to your face. Voluntary immigration with a bayonet in the back. Women and children, so they can steal their land.
Genocide?
They're
Which
just
genocide? The population
rustlers.
is
That's all it
growing,
is.
for Christ's sake. The Gazan population
was there
is growing.
a genocide in
Property.
Fallujah?
Let me bring in.
Let's talk about a direct comparison here.
Don't all, guys, time out. Don't all talk at once. We can't hear you. Let me bring Jim back in here. Jim, look, go on. You want to say something?
Was there a genocide in Fallujah when the United States military was clearing that city in Iraq? Was there one in Al Anbar when the same thing?
No, because we didn't have military officers talk about how we got to kill the Amalek and how we got to kill these Iraqi trash soldiers and wipe them off the earth. Yeah, no, nobody was saying that in our government. Nobody was saying that in our military. That's why you can't constitute it as a genocide, as fucked up as it was. But when you guys are doing all that, bombing the shit out of Palestinians while pretty much calling them the Amalek and animals and how they need to be cleansed off the earth, is like, yeah, that's a genocide, because you guys are using genocidal language while also committing to genocidal actions. And sadly, you can't hit it with the genocide until you have the language to tie it in. And I mean, thanks to Bibi, go ahead and, thanks to Bibi Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir Smotrich. Just Ben-Gvir and then the financial minister Smotrich. Yeah, because of those three politicians and others that use genocidal language towards the Palestinians, that's how we're able to go ahead and put that charge on them. I mean, bro, maybe if they would shut the hell up, they wouldn't be in this position.
Things were happening. But the amount of civilians killed per enemy combatant killed is lower in Gaza than it was when the United States was doing that. It's true.
How do you know, Jim?
Those are facts.
Jim,
even if you take the Gaza Health Ministry facts.
Jim,
go ahead.
Jim, respectfully, Jim, how many civilians have died in Gaza? Because we can't get that.
Nobody knows for sure because we're taking health ministry. But take the
so
Gaza
how do you know the ratio?
Yeah, the Gaza Health Ministry puts it at like 75,000 plus. And the reason why they use the plus is because they're still digging up bodies from under the rubble.
So how do you know?
I'm not gonna lie, low-key might hit that 100,000 low-key. And then there was like a UN estimation that there might be over 680,000 dead, about 380 of them being children. I was like, yo, and that's an estimate. So yeah, if Israel don't want to low-key own that estimate, you might want to start letting journalists in.
How do you know, Jim, the ratio is the best in modern times? Nobody knows. But they know the ratio is the best.
Take the worst case scenario. Take the lies from the Gaza Health Ministry and do the math from there on how many military-aged males were killed versus how many civilians, and compare that to every other existence of urban combat, of which we have direct comparisons. We can do the math, and it's been done. What it says is that fewer people were killed in Gaza.
Let me bring in John. John, your response to that. The most moral army in the world.
Bro.
We're ignoring the fact here that the internationally recognized definition of genocide includes the forced removal of people. You don't have to execute people for it to be a genocide.
I mean, yeah, you ethnic cleansing while killing. I mean, yeah, that's a genocide, and that's what you guys are trying to do, bro. Weren't these guys also saying, "Oh, why doesn't Egypt accept them? Why doesn't Jordan accept them?" Like, didn't they kind of just lay out their intention to push the Palestinians out of their land with that alone? Like, they say it out loud, guys. This is where we're coming up with you're trying to commit a genocide. You're trying to force the Palestinians out, and those you can't force out, you'll kill. That's just a sad reality of what's going on.
Forcibly removing a civilian population is a legal definition of genocide. And that's been announced, not just by Benjamin Netanyahu and Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, but by Donald Trump himself. Remember, he was going to make Gaza into the next Monte Carlo. No, better than Monte Carlo. That's genocide.
That's
really? That's genocide.
What you're doing now is
keeping people out of the hands of Hamas.
Out of the way so they wouldn't be
That's
killed.
moving them out of the way and keeping them safer so that Hamas won't use them as human shields. You call that genocide? I call you an extremely
at some
cruel
level,
person.
the Gazans don't even have the right to the territory. They got it as a gift from Israel. They moved their people out.
Because it was Israel's gift,
Why don't you see how you guys govern Gaza for your people? Hamas took control. They turned it into a terrorist state, and we've seen what happens. Why would Israel tolerate that? There's no reason for them to tolerate that.
My argument, Jim, hang on. Don't talk at once.
Agree with him.
Scott.
I want to agree about Hamas. Hamas is a terrible Islamist terrorist group. I'm not sitting here defending their side of the story here at all. However, it's so important to know, as I'm sure you must know, from great reporting from right-wing media like Richard Sale and UPI dating back to the 1980s, that the Israelis deliberately...
Oh, yeah. And shout out AJ for sending a floating heart for 10 jewels. Appreciate the support, sis. You've been supporting the whole show, so I'm going to go ahead and show you some love on that. All right, guys. Now, let's go ahead and get into this video real quick, because this is the video I was talking about, where pretty much you got the UN just telling us straight up, like, yo, yeah, there's pretty much about 680,000 estimated to be dead in Gaza. But let's hear it.
Being of which 75% are women and children. In fact, we shall start thinking of 680,000 because this is the number that some scholars, and 65,000 is the number of Palestinians ascertained killed, including of which 75% are women and children. In fact, we shall start thinking of 680,000 because this is the number that some scholars and scientists claim being the real death toll in Gaza. And it would be hard to be able to prove or disprove this number, especially if investigators and others remained banned from entering the occupied Palestinian territory, and particularly the Gaza Strip.
So yeah, so do you see why it's low-key in Israel's best interest to let those guys in? You got scientists and scholars pretty much saying that, well, we're estimating that about 680,000 people have died, 75% of them being women and children. And Israel's not letting no independent media on, nor the UN to let them on and actually investigate the matter, because that actually might be the truth. And if it is actually at 680,000, there will still be Zionists saying, well, that's not a genocide. Swear to God, I promise you. And you know what's great? That's really gonna make the libs like lose their fucking shit if they still held that position.
Liberally helped create Hamas and foist Hamas on the people of Palestine. I have an article about it called Netanyahu's support for Hamas backfired. And it's about how Netanyahu, according to his own government ministers, was pressuring Qatar to pay Hamas, to keep Hamas enthroned in Gaza, just so they can say to Americans, you don't expect us to deal with these terrorists, do you? And as Netanyahu said repeatedly, and we have him on video saying repeatedly, don't worry, I control the height of the flame. In other words, yes, to divide and conquer the Palestinian people, Israel foists Hamas on the Palestinians, but don't worry, they're not going to do
Hamas on themselves, and then Netanyahu kept them going. I would agree that he kept them going, and it was a bad idea. Cutting the grass, bad idea. All of those were bad policies.
Let me. Okay, guys.
You know what would be refreshing?
Hang on, we run out. Jonathan, we run out.
I like how he called it out. Like mowing the grass was terrible policy. So you're gonna go in there and just bomb the shit out of Palestinians every now and then to make sure they can't build no military might. Like, okay, that's a bit wild, but okay.
Out of time, I want to ask each of you to give a one-line answer to this, and I mean it. Don't go on a rant. We haven't got time. I'll have to cut it off. A one-line answer, and the question is very straightforward. When will this war in Iran end, and how does it end? Jonathan, one line.
It ends with the fall of the Iranian regime, with stability in the Middle East, with freedom for the Iranian people, and with peace between Iranians and Israelis. I don't know when, but I know that will be the ultimate end of it.
Okay, John?
It ends on the last day of the Donald Trump presidency with nothing having changed.
Scott?
It's already over. All that remains is the details. There might be fits and starts until the final deal, but they already called their own bluff in launching this idiot war, and they've already lost it.
Yeah, that's true.
And Jim, finally you.
It never started.
It ends when the people of Iran remove the Islamic Republic and replace it with a government representative of their needs, and the world community should unite behind that idea, not a you.
This motherfucker. Bro, are you serious? It's like every idea of his leads to us to putting boots on the ground and crashing out on Iran. I'm sorry, but there's 93 million people there, and bro, they still haven't done it yet. And guys, do you know how much people it took to overthrow the Shah? It took 6 to 8 million people. So you're telling me we can't get 6 to 8 million people to overthrow Iran? Because guess what? The Shah has secret police. They had all the guns. They had everything that the IRGC got now. But guess what? The IRGC ain't out of power, though. What's up with that? Because the IRGC got more support than the world's willing to tell you. Well, honestly, yes. They have more support than our mainstream media is willing to tell you about. But the truth is right in front of you. All you got to do is, well, look at their elections. I mean, if they had low voter turnout, then they'd probably be sharing like what? 20, 30 million registered votes. Then 15 million voter turnout. Like, come on now, guys. It does seem like they may not have like what 90%. I ain't saying that they got something crazy like 90% support, but at least 50-50 or 60-40. It's like, come on, guys. It ain't no 80-20 where 80% of the Iranians hate the regime and 20% love it. No. And you can even say, but they have the guns. It doesn't matter. They would still be outnumbered. And then it would be easier for us to start off a revolution because all we got to do is just give those 80% guns and it's on and popping. But we don't got it. It's not like that out in Iran, or we'd have been committed to that strategy of just doing a Call of Duty airdrop on their ass and letting them do their thing.
U.S. invasion, a force of will by all the free people of the world.
Okay.
Amen.
I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all for a fascinating debate. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
In a moment, we'll get to the dramatic developments in the Iran war as Zelensky and Netanyahu both visit the White House and the president weighs up a major escalation. But we begin with the extraordinary hearing that's been taking place today in the Senate.
Although it pains me to do so, because of the respect I have for the legislative branch of government and my decades-long record of cooperating with Congress, under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you.
Dr. Fauci was given a presidential pardon by President.
Now I'm weak. Somebody in the chat said, "Who taught you how to play COD?" I'm like, bro, like, dog, I'm like 31. Dog, COD came out when I was a kid. It's not who taught me how to play COD. Is when did you first buy your first Call of Duty game? And I mean, I think I was like, what? It was in 06. I think I was like in middle school when it first came out and all that good stuff. Really, it was Modern Warfare. Then, then when Black Ops took off, like right around high school and all that good stuff. Yeah. I mean, bro, you could damn near call me an OG when it comes to the gaming world at this point. Why? Because I may not play games, but I was around during the inception, though. I was around. Hopefully some of you guys understand. It's like, what, man? Look, right, y'all remember the Xbox, PS2, GameCube? Man, good old days, good old days. But no, trust me, guys. I'm old enough to know Call of Duty now.
President Biden, but many Republicans remain convinced that they can prosecute him. The probability of him being arrested this year has spiked from 4.5% to 13% on Polymarket. Is there a plan that we don't know about? Well, Peter Navarro is a counselor to the President of the United States, and he joins me now. Peter Navarro, welcome to Uncensored.
Piers, I called that shot this morning. I was on C-SPAN doing it.
Now, you know what? Let's see here. I'm going to be doing a debate against, my homeboy Monty, and we're going to be debating the whole little Charlie Kirk the Charlie Kirk assassination. And I did want to get into, well, I guess some of the topics on it because, one of his arguments is that, well, one, Candace Owens is doing this for money, and two, none of her evidence is coherent or doesn't add up or it doesn't really reach out to a conclusion. And I'm going to be debating that with him. But, just to pre for the debate, I'm just going to go ahead and watch this video real quick. Of course, he kind of made it easy for me. I ain't going to lie to you. He kind of definitely made it easy. I mean, to sit there and say, oh, she's doing it for money. And I'm just like, yeah, you can't really say she's doing it for money if she was a millionaire before and her husband's worth $250 million. It's really hard to make that claim and substantiate that claim when, you've been had money. But it is what it is. But let's go ahead and get into this, though.
Tyler Robinson. You can see clearly Tyler Robinson's face. You can see crystal clear.
There he is. There's Tyler. This guy right here is up.
And so crazy, though. Like, bro, it was Candace Owens pretty much came out, and I played the video yesterday. I clipped it up. You can go ahead and watch it on my page. But Candace Owens was pretty much exposing the video that Benny Johnson said that was in 4K. It was so crystal clear. If you've seen it, it would be without a reasonable doubt that Tyler Robinson was guilty. So I'm thinking like, God damn, bro, would you catch him on? Like, bro, would you catch him on a podcast camera, like a studio camera? But no, they caught him on this grainy ass camera phone. And as you try to get in, it gets more and more grainy, and you can't even make out if it's Tyler Robinson or not. And this is supposed to be the footage of that guy taking the shot. So, and here's the thing, dog. I'm not sitting here saying that, oh, no, this proves that Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's proved that Charlie Kirk was killed by Mike. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying that this does not prove at all that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. This is not 4K. It is not so crystal clear that it's undeniable. I'm not overwhelmed with evidence. Okay, guys, I'm not. I'm very underwhelmed right now.
Obviously, Tyler Robinson. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And you probably already know what we're going to be talking about today. Yes, the most viral story on the internet right now. And that is because yesterday, Candace Owens dropped an absolute bombshell on the internet, releasing the rooftop footage of Tyler Robinson running out to the roof and taking that shot. Yes, the footage that we've all been waiting and dying to see that would prove everything. And remember that footage? What were we told? Yes, that high definition 4K zoomed in impeccable footage of Tyler Robinson taking the shot. Remember this?
You have to hear this because it was devastating what we watched. And the judge ruled that you can't see the high definition quality video 4K of Tyler Robinson committing the murder.
Boy, wife and behind him knowing his ass lying his ass off right now. It's just like, dog, your wife looking at you knowing that you lying. But do you see why, like, Candace was kind of coming down hard on that video? Then you have people like Steven Crowder and damn near all of X kind of straw manning her, not really addressing the argument of you guys just came out all over social media and said it's so clean, so crisp in 4K. It's undeniable that it's Tyler Robinson. Y'all the ones that said that, not us. Now back that up, substantiate that, because I mean, we're looking at the video and it ain't it. Now, if you're telling us it's a different video, all right, then please explain that, say it, but don't sit there and try to gaslight us.
Of Charlie Kirk.
Yes, as Benny said, that impeccable 4K high def footage. And we'll come back to this little lying shithead later in the video, don't worry. Now, before we jump into this footage and I break it all down, just so you know, that's a still frame for this impeccable footage we're going to be talking about today. So that's what we're going to jump into. I'm going to break all this down. We're going to take a look at what happened here, compare it to the prosecution story, and then take a little look at all of these TPUSA influencers who came out and lied to your fucking face about it. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel. Follow us on Patreon. Go grab yourself some America First.
Oh yeah, same thing, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, guys. You know, we try to do this every night and I release clips every day. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, guys. Make sure to hit that bell while you're at it.
Slow motion. I'm going to break it all down. And let's discuss what really happened up on this roof. Now, before we watch this, I want to remind you what the suspect, will say, was supposedly wearing as he headed to the roof, because that's going to be important, because it's not what he's wearing in this video. Odd. Let's take a look. All right, so let's watch this in real time, then I'll slow it down and break it all down frame by frame. So here is supposedly Tyler Robinson down here in the corner, and keep in mind, we're supposed to believe that he has a 30-06 disassembled in his pants and his backpack or something somewhere. So let's watch. Also, the outfit he has on, quite interesting. All right, so here he goes. First thing.
Here's the thing, though. I remember because it was Monty who actually sent me the video. So I know, let me see if I can pull this up. Because, bro, it was the craziest straw man that Steven Crowder ever did, dog. It was like, hold on, you didn't address none of the main concern. You just spent your time, like, dogging on Candace. And, I mean, sure, it's funny, I guess, but it's like, it's kind of low IQ. You didn't really address anything. None of her arguments or anything like that. Actually, you pointed out the stupidest things and try to make it seem like it was a hardcore point. But let's go ahead and get into Steven Crowder real quick before we watch the video. I found it. This is kind of what set off the debate, actually.
Here is the evidence, and then we have a new segment, Stupid in 2 minutes or less.
Our rooftop guy begins a tactical crawl. It's actually known in the military as a lateral crawl. Let's watch that.
I'm weak, though. He did hit the crazy.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
And I actually do want to show you side by side so you can actually see a real military man do that.
See, now, this is the straw man here. Instead of actually addressing the entirety of the video, like, hold on, guys, this guy's just walking up to here, and it doesn't look like he disassembled a gun. You don't see a backpack. You see him get down and take a shot, but, I mean, you don't really see no recoil for real. So how is this, so clear, crisp, and clean in 4K that Tyler Robinson did it? And they didn't address that at all. They just spent time, just making fun of Candace. So like I said, it was like the craziest straw man ever.
Alongside this person on the rooftop. Let's bring in that side-by-side clip. Here we go.
Okay.
Which military wears that uniform?
Right there is
that a real
known
military? I don't know.
as a lateral crawl. But we're just going to show you that so that it's clear.
Seen babies do it too.
Back and forth flash there while he's military crawling. Here we go. There, and we're running that back and forth there.
Okay, we're going to do a fact check after, but it's fun.
Signaling the bees.
It says, Charlene, will you marry me?
You now have that.
She's
so
signaled.
let's watch and see if we, with our eyes, can observe some sort of a kickback.
All right.
And again, I have to apologize.
What's a kickback?
This is not like Benny Johnson 4K footage. but it's at least clear enough here on your screen that you would be able to discern a strong kickback on a gun.
What's a
from somebody.
You know, it's so crazy. Like, they were laughing at her pretty much showing the soldier kind of, you know, doing the same crawl. And it is a military crawl. Yeah, lateral crawl is a total body conditioning, a tactical move exercise where you travel sideways while keeping your body low to the ground and engaging your core, shoulder, and legs. Yeah, then we're using like fitness boot camps and all that good stuff. I'm pretty sure my military guys probably had to go through that a couple times, or maybe they moved on past that. Shoot, y'all let me know. But nah, it's actually a real thing.
Music being paid by a foreign nation.
See here.
All 18 pixels.
10 more seconds here.
No, this is gonna be so hilarious. She's gonna say kickback, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, what do you mean by kickback? Kickback? Recoil? Like, everybody knows when you say kickback on a gun, we're talking about recoil. Why are you playing stupid? I mean, this is just like common lingo. Like, y'all ain't from the 1930s. Now, you guys don't understand common lingo now. Let's not do it. Let's not play stupid. But
music being paid by a foreign nation.
See here.
All 18 pixels.
10 more seconds here.
That looked
okay. He is
like
up.
a slight kick, if that's what you mean, in his leg at one point, which would be the very mild recoil in a prone position, taking the shot.
That's assault.
And remember, guys, he was supposed to take this shot. Dismantle this gun, because remember, the gun that he used, I mean, hey, it wasn't one of those foldable ARs or whatever. The gun that they alleged Tyler Robinson used was that 30-06 and that rifle. And I mean, you're telling me that he was just able to disassemble that? What? His bare hands when he needs screws? So we're not gonna address that. We're just gonna make fun of Candace. Okay then. All right then.
All 300 frames per second too.
Anybody see a recoil?
Oh, she meant recoil.
Oh, recoil. Yeah. Yes, I did. It's very
you're
slight,
looking
but yeah.
through a scope, as he allegedly was, you might even expect a black eye.
What?
Okay, that was funny. No, that was funny though. I was like, okay, Candace. No, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not sure what gun you shooting out there you ever shot, but yeah, I mean, like, the recoil make you get a black eye. Actually, no, what? Actually, not. I've heard of that before. It happens to amateurs, but I've heard that before. But it's an amateur though. That's amateur hour right there. Like, come on now.
Why? Did a bird punch him in the face? What?
like it's a 30-06 in the pro position. She's acting like it's Samus Aran's plasma cannon. Like, okay, this brings us to stupid in 2 minutes or less, or it's free. Toolman, 2 minutes or less. Start the timer. All right. Claim, first one, that this evidence was withheld from the court. Truth, actually, the defense demanded it be withheld, not the.
Yeah, the attorneys for the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, 23, argued that the video footage Judge Tony Garf allowed prosecutors to play publicly at Robinson's preliminary hearing will likely taint a potential jury pool. So there might be, I don't get the argument for that, honestly. It's not a good argument. And if I was a prosecution, I see why they would want to take that video out there, because that's the strongest evidence that the prosecution got. So this is just honestly lawyers. This is like lawyer tactic. It's like, yeah, let me take out your best argument so I can win this case. I mean, even if your argument or even if your evidence is pretty damn good, they'll still try and make up some argument for it and hope that it pass. Hey, man, shout out to the legal game. But let's see here. But prosecutors prevailed in their argument that the public had the right to see the video to get a clear understanding of the evidence Garf had reviewed in private. And this is the wild part, though. It's like, okay, like, this is a straw man point, because how does that video prove that Tyler Robinson got shot? I mean, you're over here like bringing up the fact that, yes, it was being pretty much trying to be shot down by the defense. But still, how does this video prove that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk when it's this grainy? And trust me, I'm also confused too why the prosecution was fighting so hard to keep it. But I get it though. I honestly get it. It's like the best thing they got. The best thing they got is this video and the text messages, and all those are not, like, honestly, it doesn't give you without a reasonable of a doubt. Text messages can be forged, and that video, we don't know who's in that, like, for sure. It's alleged to be Tyler Robinson. We don't know for sure, and we need without a reasonable doubt.
prosecution. The prosecution wanted this all publicly available because they find it
so
very
important
damning
now.
for Tyler Robinson. The defense said, don't release it, and the judge ordered that to be the case. Claim: the video depicts an advanced tactical military crawl. Truth: former Army Ranger Josh?
No.
Okay. Claim: the man on the roof is military signaling. Truth: former
She never said the man on the roof was military signaling. She said the man on the roof is moving like a military guy. And I watched the entire video, guys. That's why he kind of clipped it and taking it out of context. That's what I'm saying. It's like a straw man. It's like, wait, so we're not going to focus on the entirety of the video and how Benny Johnson literally said it was in 4K and how you guys were trying to say that this proves that Tyler Robinson took the shot, right? And we're looking at the video and it proves nothing. And all you can do is sit there and just attack her on these small points. Nothing of any real importance, though. Okay. All right, you got it.
is military signaling. Truth: former Army Ranger Josh.
What would he be signaling?
Yeah, so it's too blurry to see.
Was it like a flanking maneuver? No.
Okay, it's too blurry to see the kickback, but not blurry enough to see like, look at here. Claim: that person doesn't even look like Tyler Robinson. Truth: the person doesn't look like anybody.
Now, yeah, I mean, that is true. But then here's the thing, though. Why aren't you coming at Benny Johnson for the one who said it was in 4K so clear? Why were you all not? Well, Steve, I'm not sure about Steven Crowder, but it was a lot of MAGA who was defending this video. Before the video even came out, they was saying, oh, I just seen it. It's so crisp, so clear. It's so obvious that Tyler Robinson did it. And now you're even admitting, as a critic of Candace's investigation, you're even admitting that, yeah, it doesn't prove that it's Tyler Robinson or anybody else. I mean, okay, bro. Okay.
For the same reason Mario Land on your Game Boy doesn't look like anybody. However, there's a plethora of publicly available footage, pictures, and images showing Robinson on site with his.
Yeah, that Lance Twiggs pretty much said that he could not verify if that was Tyler Robinson or not. Like, yes, in the Lance Twiggs interview or his testimony, they showed him this stuff, and he was like, can you confirm that's Tyler Robinson? He's like, not really. I mean, maybe it could be, but I can't really tell. I mean, so not even Lance Twigg testimony of him looking at the video. And here's the thing, the video doesn't even prove that it's Lance Twiggs either. None of this is concrete. And that's the fucked up part, because even when Lance Twigg is looking at the man on video of who took the shot, who's alleged to be Tyler Robinson, he can't even tell who it is. I mean, that's the problem. All of this footage that we're seeing is grainy. And I'm gonna be real with you, probably the best one is when they had his face like going down the stairs, and you still couldn't tell if that was Tyler Robinson or not. So when are you gonna sit here and admit that none of this evidence gives us a definite conclusion that it was Tyler Robinson? And I mean, bro, you're telling me he broke down the gun, he took out of whatever like coat he was wearing on the roof, because I'm gonna be real with you, he wasn't in no long. Let's be real, he walked down in a short sleeve and shorts, guys. Like, think about that too. Like I'm saying, they're not thinking about the totality of it. If you look at the video, this guy looked like he was in a whole ass bodysuit, long sleeves, long pants, all that. And now he's walking down the stairs in a hat and shorts, and apparently a gun that he's supposed to be limping with. But okay.
Parents even confirming, but I'm sure that, of course, that's also the feds as well. Claim: you never see a person pull out a gun. Truth: I guess it's not in this footage, but it looks like he's crawling with something in his hand. Sorry, tactically, militarily. Claim: there was no recoil. Truth: I saw some. Gerald saw it. I think you saw it. Recoil.
I didn't see it, bro. Okay. No, show us. No, please show us the recoil then. Please, I hope they show this video. If they don't show this video, this is the craziest gaslighting and strawmanning ever done by Steven Crowder. Like, because Candace showed that video, and over 2 million people watched that video. And bro, we're all looking at the comments on X and YouTube, and nobody is saying that they've seen a recoil, but MAGA, but TPUSA. So I guess there's conflicting arguments, but I'm sorry, but I'm looking at that and I do not see no recoil. Or like, let me know if you guys want me to show you the video. Maybe you'll see something that I don't.
Well, from a 30-06 is pretty moderate, especially in the prone position. The idea that it would cause a black eye, you'd have to be retarded.
And the idea that it would just only puncture a hole in somebody's neck and not take their entire neck off is also pretty retarded. But you believe that.
In other truths, the medical examiner report, which of course is not real, it's all fed slop, confirmed that he died from a gunshot wound to the neck. There you go. There you go. That's it. We don't even need any.
Whoa. And then you're going over consequential evidence, which is now the bullet that they pulled from Charlie's neck, they wasn't able to connect back to the gun that they alleged that Tyler Robinson fired. So why don't you mention that? And that is true. The bullet that they pulled out of Charlie Kirk's neck, they wasn't able to match up with the gun that they said he fired. It came in inconclusive. And inconclusive doesn't mean that it didn't, well, honestly, it actually means that it pretty much couldn't match up. They couldn't pretty much say no, they couldn't say yes. AKA is pretty much a no.
More 2 minutes. That's that. We don't need the full 2 minutes on the timer.
But I mean, you see how he didn't show the video? Like, what recoil did you see? And know what? F it. I'll pull back up the video. I mean, please. We all saw that video, the full one. And Candace showed it. So some of y'all in here capping. But we gonna see who cap. I got you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the video. In the meantime, though, please enjoy this clip.
You've got over 1,500 ships just stuck in the Gulf of Oman waiting for the Strait of Hormuz to reopen. But then the moment that they start moving again, you could be looking at a major super spreader event, but maybe not in the way that you're thinking. Still though, you've got researchers calling this an almost cliched worst case scenario, because you've had these ships just sitting motionless since February 28th when the war started. But usually they're only stationary for 2 to 3 days. So they've now just basically become part of the Gulf's ecosystem. Everything from algae and barnacles to microbes native to the region, they're latching onto these ships. And so when you have these ships, they finally start moving again, they're traveling all over the world, that means they're going to be carrying all of those species that could then become invasive and disrupt foreign ecosystems. Which if you're like, okay, it sounds maybe kind of bad, I cannot understate this. We are in fact staring down the barrel of what could be an ecological catastrophe, but not just for marine life, but for us. But on a much smaller scale, invasive marine species, they've already become known to push some species to extinction and clog things like power plant cooling systems. So if ship crews or countries, they do not implement some sort of extremely rigorous cleaning standard for leaving the Gulf, you might end up seeing billions upon billions of dollars being funneled into infrastructure repair across the globe, not to mention effectively entirely new oceans.
I'm so weak. The video shows him walking away. Clearly, no, it doesn't. It doesn't clearly show his face. Nobody was able to, bro, not even his boyfriend that lived with him as a roommate was able to identify him and say that was him. So no, you're wrong about that. The gun's in his pants. No, he wasn't, for some reason, he wasn't walking without a limp. And now they're saying it went from his pants to his book bag. So now you don't even really know the original message here or the original narrative and him walking away from the scene. And well, like I said, confessions can be forced, especially if it's on iMessage and Discord, which all I need is access to your laptop to be able to, and your number, to be able to honestly, make my own messages, make my own conversations. That's all you need. That's why that's not conclusive evidence. But I mean, some of y'all not really thinking here. But all right, though, let's get to the video.
It's that rooftop. He is suddenly able to sprint, and this limp that he has in the footage, Tyler's 5'10" belly, in theory, it's not what I'm seeing, but I digress. Let's just jump back into the narrative as it's been spun to us, because then we know he gets onto the rooftop. And I just am wondering now, how does the gun get out of his skinny jeans at that point? Anybody? Right? Skinny jeans are designed so that the bottom of the jeans are tight, skinnier by the ankle. Did he wiggle it out of the bottom? Or did he pull down his pants real quick on the rooftop and get it out this way? We don't know. But what we do know is that once he hits that rooftop, he is suddenly able to sprint. And this limp that he has in the footage is completely removed. So let's watch that.
I don't even see a gun in his hand.
Okay. Now what happens next is exactly as my source stipulated. Our rooftop guy begins a tactical crawl. It's actually known in the military as a lateral crawl. Let's watch that.
Yeah, that's a lot of bending he doing with that long
There
ass
he
rifle
goes.
in his jeans.
And I actually do want to show you a side by
though. Like everybody be forgetting important details. Remember, he's supposed to be having this rifle in his pants, but he's able to fully bend his knee and crawl on the ground like that with a full rifle in his pants. Okay.
By side, so you can actually see a real military man do that alongside this person on the rooftop. Let's bring in that side-by-side clip. Here we go. That general action right there is known as a lateral crawl. Now, you may have noted, if you're just looking at your eyes, some sort of a flash that just took place, right? We're going to show you that slowed down and just kind of discuss this. We've gone back and forth here. What is that? Is he pulling something out? Is it like a signal mirror? Is it a flag? Was it already on Losey Center? Is it actually something that's in the background that's just catching weird? Is it a car? And we're just thinking that we see this flash, but we're just going to show you that so that it's clear. Back and forth flash there while he's military crawling. Here we go. There, and we're running that back and forth there.
Oh shit! Like a white paper. Yeah, that might have been like a flash.
Okay. So you now have that. Next up, what you are going to see is that it's going to look as though, as he gets into position and completes this lateral crawl, that he thrusts something forward in a way that my brain told me it looked like he was unfolding a gun. Truly, that's what my brain told me. Maybe it's because I had this guy and told me about it.
And they said it was just a regular rifle that would have low key to dismantle it the way he did or whip it out the way he did. He'd have to have the fastest hands on earth, like, to be honest. So everybody be forgetting about all those key details that go along with this narrative that everybody all of a sudden forgets when they see the video. I mean, you guys said he was hiding it in his pants, but he's able to bend down perfectly with a fully metal and plastic rifle in his pocket. Like how, I mean, in his pants, along his pants leg. I mean, look, man, the man's not like 7'9", so how's that working? And then remember, he was supposed to be we should be able to see him prop out the gun, right? But instead, it's like we just see him just whip out something. But look, I'll show you.
Full they are, I don't know, but it's not definitive. That's me narrating. I'm happy for people to disagree and debate what is seen. But let's just watch that portion here.
There it is.
There we go.
Just whipped it out.
Something forward. And we can watch that again. Something forward.
Like, just whipped it out like it was nothing. Like, bro, he didn't take it out the suitcase. He ain't struggling to pull it out of his pants. He just flung it out.
There we go. Something forward. And we can watch that again. Something forward.
And here's the thing. With such bad, I'm gonna be real with you. This is terrible definition. This is terrible quality. So how'd y'all see a recoil? But okay, let's hear it. Let's see it
again. But more importantly than what we see here is what we're not going to see here. So remember, this is supposed to be a German 98 Mauser family heirloom gun. Used.
Let's remember, this is the gun that they said that he used. How the fuck are you just whipping that out like that? How are you walking with that in your pants and then you're able to fully bend down your knees, get in a crawl position, just whip that out so fast, please? Like, you see, like, the stuff you got to ignore to make the main narrative make sense. You got to ignore a lot of details.
During World War I and World War II, that'll effectively take your shoulder out when it's fired. Even the newer models, if you go watch people shooting, they're like, oh, my shoulder. And if you're looking through a scope, as he allegedly was, you might even expect a black eye.
No.
You will recall that the guy who recorded the footage specifically told us that he saw no recoil. That's pretty crucial. He just saw the guy get up and run. And that would be, I would argue, or a lawyer in court, that would be impossible for this specific make and model of gun. So let's watch and see if we, with our eyes, can observe some sort of a kickback. And again, I have to apologize. This is not like Benny Johnson 4K footage, but it's at least clear enough here on your screen that you would be able to discern a strong kickback on a gun from somebody who's just laying down, taking a shot. So I'm going to let this run. It's about 50 seconds. And you just let me know if at any point you see that before he gets up and breaks into a sprint. Take a look. There you go. That's that unfolding again. Again. Take a look. There you go. That's that unfolding again.
It's like, yeah, to whip it out like that. And like I said, remember the gun he's supposed to be having here. Like, there should, all right, but like I said, hey man, there's people who believe the main narrative, but I mean, you tell me the gun that you've seen, can you possibly handle it like that? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. And like I said, the kid ain't like, 7 feet or 6'9". I mean, he's like my height, around 6'1", 6'2". And I would not be able to run with that type of gun down my pants to be able to bend all the way down and do the military crawl, a lateral crawl like that. But that's just me.
And by the way, if you are listening to this in audio, this is one of these episodes that you actually do have to go watch. So you will have to pivot over to YouTube, to Spotify, somewhere that provides the video, because this is not something that we could just produce on an audio podcast here, unfortunately. But this is going to run. We did have to obviously zoom in and push out those Fed timestamps, but see here, I have 10 more seconds here. Okay, he is up.
Going and he's taking a full dip.
I have 10 more seconds here.
Full dip, no holding it, no
is up.
nothing.
Seconds here.
Hold on, bro. This is where he takes a shot.
Fed
Don't
timestamps,
even
but
see nothing.
see here.
Wait. There might have. Hold on. Actually, hold on. I'm trying to be fair. I think I might have seen something.
Fortunately, but this is going to run. We did have to obviously zoom in and push out those Fed timestamps, but see here.
No, it's just
I have 10 more seconds here. Okay, he is up.
Okay, yeah, I thought I saw some smoke come up, but no, that was just a silver car rolling by. But yeah, no, I don't see no recoil. What about you guys? Like, where do you see Tyler Robinson? Logan, how weak? Yeah, that's the question that none of them want to answer. I ain't gonna lie.
See here.
That's just funny.
I have 10 more seconds here. Okay, he is up.
And gone.
Anybody?
Sprint. Full sprint? Full sprint, though. You telling me you be able to pick up that gun, put it in your pants so quick, so smooth, and pull off in a full sprint. Okay. Like I said, I don't believe the microphone narrative. I don't believe the whole Israel and all this good stuff. I just don't believe the main narrative. That's it. That's all. And that's my stance.
Anybody see a recoil? I didn't see one, but let's actually put that footage all together uninterrupted. Here we go for you guys to watch. He comes running on to the rooftop. What we know definitively is he gets down into what is known as a lateral military crawl. He begins that crawl over to the right first, and then to the left, we see a quick flash. We are not sure what that flash is. Actually, this looks like, I'm not going to read into it. There's that.
Yeah, just whips it out like
throw forward. I say into it.
Like,
this looks like
fold it.
I'm not going to read into it. There's that.
All right.
Throw forward. I say fold forward. You can say throw forward, but that's definitely something being flung forward, getting into position. And here we wait for what we expect to be some sort of a kickback.
Recoil, yeah. And it's, like I'm saying, it was incredibly dishonest of Steven Crowder to sit there and, like, harp on the word kickback. It's like, bro, we all know kickback means recoil. Like, we all understand that, right? Okay, we don't need to be, intellectually dishonest here.
Our source began recording from the side of a Pelosi building and said, I just saw someone get up there. He's got a gun.
And here's the thing: this better not be their best evidence. If this is y'all best evidence, is text messages that could have been orchestrated, and this video here that you can't really see his face or him take the shot, and then you got a bullet that's inconclusive to the gun, which now makes sense because I'm gonna be real with you. I mean, it don't look like, you know, he was using a regular rifle. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you, rifles just don't snap out like that. Not those kinds, not the one he was using, not those hunting rifles. But I digress. But, oh, wait, my bad. But like I said, if that's all y'all got, I mean, don't be surprised if you get a non-guilty verdict. I could see him getting a guilty verdict still, but if this is all you guys got, don't not be surprised if he gets off.
And he's up. And he's gone. What do you guys think? I should just jump into this chat and see. Where are my gun experts? What do you guys think? Something feels not right. Something doesn't feel right. That feels to me like what the witness said. That person looks like they've got training. It's not giving Tyler Robinson to me. But what do I know? I'm not an expert. Like that just feels, and then he's gonna jump off of the rooftop like Spider-Man uninjured. And he's gonna run off.
Actually, yeah, they can. Remember, all guns got a special graving out their barrel. And the police matches, bro, come on now. Like, everybody knows this. Like, come on, Chad. Don't do us like this, bro. But the police match bullets to Pacific guns successfully whenever a recovered firearm leaves a distinct, undamaged microscopic marking. Or, that clearly aligns with the test fire. Though exact success statistics vary by case quantity and a heavy abide by database like the National Integration Ballistic Information Network. So, yeah, pretty much we got all these guns in that database. And if I'm be real with you, I mean, unless this guy got a special type of gun, we should be able to track that bullet. And if it's just a simple hunting rifle, we should be able to match that hunting rifle bullet to the hunting rifle. But we didn't. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? But like I said, man, you gotta ignore a lot of details to believe the main narrative. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, I'm heading out on this one, guys. The sun's about to come up and I gotta head to bed. All right, man. I appreciate the support, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. And make sure you guys double tap that screen and watch the video and hit that bell for the next time I go live, drop a clip or a short, guys. All right. Appreciate it. Peace.
Everything in the world is a manifestation of the light of being. The world is a mirror, and the light of being is the image reflected within it. Do not be deceived by the multiplicity of the mirrors, for the light that shines in them is but one. If 1,000 mirrors are placed before the sun, you will see 1,000 suns, yet in truth, there is only the original. The essences of things, their names, shapes, and boundaries, are merely the frames of these mirrors. They do not add anything to the light. They only limit it and give it a shape. He who sees only the mirrors is a veiled man. He who sees only the light is a mystic. But he who sees the light within the mirrors is the truly wise, for he recognizes the unity in the heart of diversity.